Suns football game finished just in time for me to make it back before the San Francisco 49ers make their pick in round 2. Cannot wait to react. I have no idea what's happened, who's available, nothing. Literally got home, hopped on here with David. So he's going to catch me up live, and we're going to see what's going on with the 49ers. Hopefully the board is falling good. We'll be right back at you in a second. All right, welcome back to Last Second Sports, where we are giving you our take down to the last second. Here we are, round 2. David, dude, catch me up. I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, so what we've got is the huge run at receivers at the beginning. There's a big DB run. Was told by our guy, Marco, that they were actively been trying to move up since the middle of the second round. And in Marco's words, it said that's Marco Martinez, 49ers insider, baby, saying that that no teams were wanting to make a fair trade. People were asking for too much. And so the Niners, actually, it's, to me, on my board, if they were trying to move up for OT, well, Blake Fisher went, and then Patrick Paul went. But there are two guys that we really like, and we know the Niners like. Kingsley Suamataia and Roger Rosengarten are still there. They're still on the board. Okay. And you've got the Bills, the Lions, and Ravens. I highly doubt both those guys go. One of them could. I think they're going to have their choice of both, but we'll see what happens.
Wow. So hold on. So Rosengarten and Suamataia are both available right now. And we're how many picks away?
We are 3 picks away, and the Bills are on the clock, and it looks like the pick is in, but I'm just waiting for it to be reported.
They're not going to take a tackle, I don't think. I don't think they're taking a tackle.
No, and so right now, it's a wild.
Has Jerzon Newton went, right?
The Commanders took him at pick 36. Yes.
Oh, that was a good pick. Okay.
It's a good pick. And I think it's one of those things where he thought of the first because of that Jones fracture. I totally understand when you have those medicals.
Yeah.
You don't want to invest a first round pick on a guy that you feel is going to be on the sideline a lot, but I think that's a great selection by the Commanders. Yes.
Rohan just jumped backstage. Rohan, you ready? Yeah. All right. What's up, Rohan?
I'm on the phone right now because I was just on Twitter. On a space, but hey, man, we got a pick, and there are some freaking players. I mean, I'm excited. I'm excited for 63 right now.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too. We are ready to rock. This is crazy, dude. I can't believe. I feel like I don't want to jinx it because I feel like last night we had the same feeling. Like, oh, okay. I feel like last night we had the same thought, where it was like the board's falling perfect. And then they went completely crazy and went somewhere we didn't expect. So right now we hope they take tackle. There's 2 of them that a lot of people had mocked in the first round sitting right there. And as long as those guys go, we're going to be in a really, really good spot. So,
well, and last night though, they went with a guy we didn't think.
I'll hop back in a minute on the computer.
But there's a guy that we didn't think they were going to take Pearsall, but a lot of us did. I projected receiver for a while, based on reports that we were getting, right? So, and right now,
Buffalo just took Cole Bishop.
Good, that's good. I like Cole Bishop, but that was a little rich for me. I would have waited to the 3rd round. I like Cole Bishop a lot, though. Here's the thing. I know I could be wrong, but I've been told they've been trying to move up for the last 10 to 15 to 17 picks to get the tackle that they want. So right now, I also don't know what tackle they wanted, and I don't think it's Patrick Paul. I could see them being interested in Blake Fisher. They've gone the McGlinchey route to Notre Dame. They've gone Aaron Banks, right? There was that widespread stuff that said that you were going to be a Roger Rosengarten 31, Mel Kiper. Oh, could he get into the first round? Kingsley Suamataia had a top 30 visit. Reports there were from the inside that said he had like no body fat. The dude was just like a unit. I'm shocked, to be quite honest, that a guy with a Sewell bloodline. I know he looked a little rough at left tackle last year, but he still didn't allow many pressures. Right tackle, he was almost flawless. He's 20 years old. He's one of the youngest players coming into the draft, and he won't have to start right away. I actually think this is perfect for him. So yeah.
I like it. No, I like it. All right, cool.
We are what? How many picks are we away now? 3? Because Cole Bishop is going to Buffalo.
Yeah. Cole Bishop's to Buffalo.
And the Lions just took Ennis Rakestraw.
Wow.
Cornerback out of Mizzou.
Okay.
And Rakestraw was a guy who I thought is a better college cornerback. I feel his traits at corner and outside scare me. There's very few corners that have his explosive metrics and just basic, speed on tape that I don't see that translate to the NFL, but that's why he's at the bottom of the second.
Hold on a second, though. They went corner after trading for a corner in the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
They already had a good nickel corner. So are they thinking somebody can play safety that's on there? I don't know. I'm confused by that a little bit. I listen, maybe best player available and you just do that, but you did take a corner in round 1 and you got one in the offseason and you already have a nickel. So who can play safety there? I don't know.
Here's my thing is Rakestraw, because Rakestraw is a guy that they love near the line of scrimmage. He's a big time hitter.
Yeah.
I think he could be that guy, much like Cooper DeJean, who is much better athlete than Rakestraw, but is not going to play corner for the Eagles. He's going to be in that I think in that Jimmy Ward. I talked about that. I saw a lot of Cooper DeJean and Jimmy Ward, but Jimmy Ward could actually play corner more seamlessly. But I think that DeJean's probably the better athlete overall, but Jimmy was an amazing athlete. So yeah, this is interesting, guys. We're down to the Ravens.
One pick away. And I want to say this, I don't want to jinx anything, but I did say about 20 picks ago went on the Twitter space. This is the one team where I'm scared if a team is going to take Suwayamata. Baltimore has always been good when it comes to evaluations.
Oh, they need an offensive lineman. No, they're going to take one of these tackles, I believe. I agree. I think one of them might go here, but that's fine because I'm fine with Rosengarten or Suwayamata at 63. And so Jason says, what day 3 pick? All good vibes. Yesterday was a little weird, but they're going to get one of those 2 tackles that a lot of people liked as early as round 1 to them.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is going to fall in their lap. Bare minimum, one of them may be their choice. So hopefully it's one of those tackles. I would absolutely love it. Who else is out there that would be a good pick? Because we can't just put it on the tackles. Is there anybody else that would be like, okay, we're fine with this?
Yeah, I'm a big fan. You guys knew I had Christian Haynes as the first round grade. His age, like Pearsall, is a little bit older.
There, okay.
But Haynes is an absolute beast. His movement skills in the combine. I just felt like him and Fautanu actually were the ones that stuck up the most to me. I thought Haynes, he's an absolute beast. He is a guy he's got a mean streak, but he's got the athleticism to move in Kyle's scheme. I would be ecstatic with TJ
Tampa. Tampa is my guy, and I know David likes him. Iowa State guy. I watched TJ Tampa a lot this week. He is a Niners corner, 6'2", 200. He's a press man guy. He's maybe not the most, he's not as fast, but with his press skills, he's very physical. I think he'd be a good fit for the Niners and an immediate starter on the outside.
And I'm not an Iowa State shill. I had to go for Tyler Nubin. I wasn't as high on Nubin as others were, but he's a good player. I think that
is Nubin still there?
Nubin's gone to the Giants. But Tampa was in September. I mean, you just watch him, and I hadn't even watched him before. I said, this guy in September, that's when I start watching prospects loosely. And I just kept watching a couple Cyclones games. Like, this guy's everywhere. And the Cyclones are known for having a great defense, but the best defense in the Big 12 usually. And I think he'd be the value here at the bottom is 2, but just chef's kiss. So I don't think they can really go wrong.
Please don't say that again. That's what we thought
Roger
yesterday.
Rosengarten just went at 62. So Kingsley Suwayamata is on the board. Rosengarten off the board.
Okay, so good, very good pick by the Ravens, who needed offensive line help. I love that pick for the Ravens. It's a very good one, but that also means good thing for the 49ers because there's 3 players that we just talked about. 2 of them are offensive linemen that they could certainly took. Matt, real quick, says, so Adam Peters might have been the reason we drafted good. It's early. We still might give this draft an overall high grade. All right. I'm holding out hope. Matt says Lions addressed their weakness. They did. In abundance, I guess. I don't know. That was a lot. Here we go.
I'm hoping they go Tampa, but let's see. We got hold on. I think Ricky the dog is late.
I mean, if we looked at the end of last night and then considered Suwayamata, being here at 63, if your first 2 picks are Suwayamata and Pearsall, you come away pretty happy.
All right, let's get this guy's name right. It's Swamataya. Now, so I like Junior Colson too. Edwin Cooper is gone. I wouldn't go linebacker here. Hell, I like Jalix Hunt, but it's too rich for me. I would go Christian Haynes, Swamatai, or TJ Tampa. Those would be my 3 guys I'm looking at. And if they doubled up on receiver, if they got a trade in the works, I'd go Javon Baker here, but that's probably a little early.
Yeah, well, listen, if they have a trade in the works, sure.
That's the only
there's
cap.
no way. Yeah, you can't go receiver after going receiver in round 1. That's for sure. Here we go. Niners on the clock, baby. If you don't want to know early before your TV tells you, then mute us and then get our reaction after. Because
put it this way, if the Niners wanted Rosengarten, I know they've been trying to trade. They could have finagled the trade to go a couple spots up. I believe that.
For sure.
I think they were happy staying pat.
Yeah,
I'm so glad they did.
I mean, the board fell that way. I think this is a good decision to stay pat. You know, I was considering, do you trade up, especially when you hear the Chiefs might be wanting to move up? Do you trade up? But it seems like they're in a good spot right now.
Yep.
That would be pretty cool, though. You know, if Rosengarten goes, we take Suamatia. The Chiefs, then, who have been looking to move up for a tackle, they don't get their guy because all of the tackles just went on this run.
If they make a big surprise here and go for if they reach on a tackle, but we'll see what happens. My buddy Jay said Walter Rouse season from Oklahoma. Yeah, that would be hilarious. But hey, look, I've been going live on this draft now for 4 years in a row. I'm not surprised by anything what the 49ers do anymore. Like, I'm not.
Running back. Imagine it's running back.
Hey, if it's Jalen Wright, I'd be okay with it. I'm partially joking. But he is a guy that I have a day 2 grade on strongly. I only have about 16 guys left that I have strong day 2 grades on.
Who's the next best tackle, just in case they?
Like I said, it could be.
Oh, is Kieran available? From
Kieran Amagazi.
Okay, yeah. I'm good with Amagazi. I like Amagazi a lot, so I'm good with him. I like him, but that's just me personally. Come on, baby. Yeah.
Imagine they make us wait the entire 10 minutes just like they did on the first pick.
This is ridiculous. And if they tip another pick to find the leak, right?
Yeah. That was funny.
Oh, that would be funny. Man, we don't have our leaker though with us, so
wasn't that the story yesterday that they had leaked to some people that it was DeJean, and then
Silver and
other
Marco
people
got the same thing. The same
Silver
text.
and Marco both heard trade.
Oh no, the Chiefs are on the clock.
That's fine.
Wow.
Listen, you're trading one spot back.
Wow.
You're trading one spot back. I'm okay with this.
They had to know. They had to know who the Chiefs were picking. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
And I want to see what
that's surprising. No, you know the Niners and the Chiefs trading. They definitely know who the Chiefs are picking. I am
never one of those people that says, like, for instance, I think there was in division trading tonight already. Cardinals and Rams, or I can't remember who it was. That doesn't bother me. Like, to me, if like teams are going to trade, you're going to trade. And it's
now the Chiefs were the pick after, right? Or I know they were in the first round, but does that hold true, or did they not? Did they have a pick in round 3?
There's no way they moved all the way to the bottom of the 3rd round. No, the Chiefs moved up. If that's the case.
I know, but how much is what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm confused.
I think it's the 1 pick move up,
and maybe a pick
I would
swap.
expect.
Okay, here it is. Here's the capital. Chiefs get 63 and 211. Niners get 64 and 173. That's huge.
Perfect. That's massive.
That's a 40 spot. That's a 38 spot lead.
That's a steal.
That's
a steal.
Brilliant.
That's a steal. I love that. Good job,
Niners. A whole round in value. You moved up from the bottom, middle of the 6th to the bottom of the 5th. I mean,
one thing I'll note as well, 3rd round is where you might see some trade ups, 3rd, 4th round, and you just got an extra 5th round pick as capital. You know,
yeah.
Right.
John Lynch said they have 180 or 170 grades. 211 is not in 100. You know, in that 170 range. You don't worry about that pick. You move off one of those later picks, and now you have people even to move up.
Here's the thing. Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I don't think they know who the Chiefs are picking. I think that they have a couple players.
And
they did.
They took Swamatia.
Yeah. I expected that. The Chiefs were moving up for a tackle.
But that's what tells me that the 49ers have multiple players that they like. Kingsley hopefully was one of them, but we don't know. So we just
I don't think that means that they're high on Suamatia as initially perceived.
I get that, but
maybe they like Kieran. Go ahead. Sorry.
You're bottom of the second round. I think this means that we were told they were going up for tackle. Maybe they're not going tackle, and maybe they're sitting here thinking that we've got other guys that we like and they're ready to move up for other things. But
maybe they like TJ Tampa.
I'm just sorry. Like we just said, Rosengarten and Swamataya, and then they go pick, and they had those
are literally the players that we were just hyping up, and they just went pick right in front of the 49ers. So it's like, and one of them they had a chance to get. So that's a little frustrating because this is right where they should be. And so we knew that. We knew that was, I don't know. We'll see. But there's still some good players left. I'm not going to freak out too much. And I do love that pick. I do love that trade ultimately because now they got some movement they can make in round 3 here. But let's see who they take.
I do too. You could use that. I think that's what they're going to do is use that 5th to move up. I don't think they're going to stand pat. I
think if this is TJ Tampa, though, you come away pretty happy.
Oh, I'm not freaking out about this. And I didn't freak out last night either. But like, this is the thing. I like Kingsley. If this was one of those things where somebody traded in front of him and just poached him, but I got a feeling that they let them know. I bet to say the Niners really wanted Kingsley. There's no way in hell they're just doing that just to move up to the 5th round from the 6th. I just don't believe that.
I personally don't think that the conversation happens where I don't.
The Chiefs have been. I think it was well documented. The Chiefs were trying to move up for a tackle. I think that they knew it was going to be a tackle, which is curious to me because if you wanted a tackle, you wouldn't have traded down, in my opinion. I don't think tackle was the spot then. I guess even if it was at 63.
Patrick Mahomes just said, "I love Veach, man." So
he loved that pick. Patrick Mahomes loved it. Damn.
I don't know.
They needed a tackle bad, man. The Chiefs needed it bad too, so it doesn't surprise me.
I totally see where you're coming from. The bottom line sounds like the Chiefs are probably going to get him, and it looks like the Niners might have been fielding, say, "Hey, we're going to be trading this somewhere," and the Chiefs said, "Look, we're just going to go up one spot." I think the only way that you trade up one spot for that is if the Niners were trying to shop it, and it looked like maybe they were trying to go back.
That's fine.
If this is Christian Haynes, I honestly view it as
I'm fine. Yeah. I'd be ecstatic if it's Christian Haynes.
Christian Haynes is actually, I have a higher grade than either of those tackles.
I agree. Of course, my Twitter stopped loading, so you guys are gonna have to let me know.
I got it. Yeah, I got it. But yeah, interior line, Cooper Beebe, I can see them liking him too.
I like Beebe. It's a round earlier than I like him, but whatever.
Let's see here. So, yeah, Ted Wynn says the Bills and 49ers help KC get their draft targets. Yep. I mean, it's
funny.
The two teams that are looking up at him are helping him out the most, right? Kingsley was such a good pick by them.
I don't know what's going on. I wonder if the 49ers have shut down their
wow, Renardo Green
at
corner.
That's my CB.
Renardo Green at corner.
Okay. I'm stoked. I'm gonna go pull some. I'm not gonna victory lap, but I'm pull receipts.
They were eyeing offensive tackle, but their guys were off the board, indicating Rosengarten and Swamataya were not guys on their board.
Okay, guys. Wow. This is a phenomenal. I'm just gonna walk you guys through this one. Renardo Green locked down some of the best competition. And he, I'm going to tell you right now, this guy is an outside corner, CB1 all day. I'll let you guys kind of talk through this because I'm going to go find my own reports that I have on him.
Can I say this?
Yeah.
I think, now listen, there's rumors that the 49ers might be seeking a guy who could potentially play the star role. He's a little bit of a nickel. He's a little bit of a safety, and he's a little bit of an outside. He's done a little bit of everything. He can play zone. He can play man. At the very least, you got somebody who's versatile, which they love the versatility in their corners. Could he possibly play that role is what I'm asking, because he has done a little bit of all three.
Would you have preferred Green or TJ Tampa? You said CB1? Green was your CB1 on the board?
Okay, so I had TJ Tampa high, but when I went through my board, and I'll go show it to you, I tweeted this out before, I got all kinds of Renardo Green was my top cornerback in day 2. Renardo Green, I was higher on him. A lot of people said he's going to go 3rd and 4th round. I said that's ridiculous. I believe very strongly that Charvarius Ward is not going to get extended. I think they're looking at Diamador Lenore, and I think that Renardo Green could be one of those guys that they really believe could be the best cornerback on their board. And I think when it comes out, I'm not, teams are going to say a lot of things. Right now, I need a couple minutes just to go look back and show you what I've got on him. Renardo Green, it boggled my mind how he wasn't higher. No, he's not the 4.43 guy. He's a 4.51 corner.
No, 4.49 he ran, I think. 4.49. He's under 4.5. Yeah, he's under 4.5.
Game speed is game speed. I'm so tired of the 40-yard dash. We have GPS on these guys. Keon Coleman ran a gauntlet drill and was the fastest guy on the field, right? But his 40 was slow. I'm tired of it. And Renardo Green has everything you want in man coverage. He can go in zone. He can play up the line of scrimmage. You said, like, you could be a star role guy. It's not just the utility, though. He's a true outside lockdown potential corner. I am bravo to Niners. I love this. I love that you didn't reach for a tackle you didn't want and did not prioritize a position that you thought you had to have. I'm stoked.
No, I like the pick. I like the pick. I'm not mad at it at all. I think some people in the chat are a little mad. I genuinely think that he's got the versatility to play inside, outside, or even safety. I really believe that. So think about it. If you extend at some point Diamador Lenore and you let Ward walk, you've got two guys that can play the slot or they can play outside. And I think one of them might even be able to play a little bit of safety. Just saying that I like that versatility back there. I really do. Because when players go down, if you can't have versatility, all of a sudden you're just putting somebody out there that might get cooked. So I actually like this play. I do. And another thing, 45 college games. This guy's he's played some college football. It's really loud, Rohan. What is all that?
Oh, my bad. I had the audio off for one second.
Dude, I'm not mad at it. But they need to start getting O-line tough. They need to start getting O-line in a big way. You're a team that needs some bulk in the trenches. I think both offensively and defensively. And you went skill position, good players, but you still need to address your down linemen on offense and defense. So we need to see that happen, period. We need to see that happen in these upcoming drafts or in these upcoming picks. So guys like BB, if he's there, Mahogany, these are the names that we need to start looking at because they've gone skill position. But I like Renardo. Play inside, he can play out, he can play a little bit of safety, in my opinion. I love the versatility. 45 games in college. I'm not mad at it. I'm really not. I'm not mad at this pick.
Bro, I'm just going to tell you right now, this is going to be, and I've never done this on shows. This could be one of the steals of the draft. This is, to me, a guy that there weren't many corners I really liked. Like in the first round, Quinyon Mitchell, good corner. I did not have Quinyon Mitchell markedly higher, if at all, than a guy like Renardo Green. Cooper DeJean, I didn't even have on my board as a corner. Yeah. The corners that I really like, I didn't have Kool-Aid McKinstry on my board. I didn't have Kamari Lassiter on my board. I didn't have Ennis Rakestraw on my board. My guys were, and I had Max Melton, Renardo Green, TJ Tampa, and those were my day two corners. And other than that, it was and Cam Hart, and then it was Quinyon Mitchell.
I love Cam Hart. I love Cam Hart.
So Renardo Green is my number two corner in this draft. Is to get him at 64. I really am. You can write this down and bookmark it. This is going to go down as one of the best picks the 49ers have had in a long time. It's an excellent job.
I want to say this though, just because I don't know, we don't know who's for sure going to fall there. The way that the board was perceived to fall the whole time. Now, again, where, mock drafts are not everything. Rankings are not everything. So you never know. But to me, in the third round, especially because you traded back and now you've got some wiggle room, I really feel like there is a lot of good corners in round 3. Maybe not as good or as versatile as Renardo Green, but if you could have gone Suamataia or whoever, Haynes, and then come back in a corner, that might have been the better. But again, we don't know what's going to be there yet. I'm just saying at 93, or what is it, 94, I think, you could package that with some of these picks that you've got and move up, because now you've got an 11th pick.
I had Renardo Green as the 40th ranked player on my board.
I had a good player. I like it.
I had Christian. Yeah. I had Christian Haynes at 32. I had Ricky Pearsall at 50. Okay. I think, and I had Kingsley Suamataia at, I have to go back and look at my board. I gotta go look at it. It's slightly in there. I like Kingsley. I didn't have him as a first round. I didn't have him as my first round player though. I would have played him in the first round. That's fine because it's just its grades, but it's like, it's not, it was something that I felt like might've been a little bit more of a reach. I still liked him. I think what it shows to show, you got to really pump the brakes when you're dealing with the 49ers. People are really, really certain about Roger Rosengarten. I mean, we were blue in the face. He's going private workout. John Lynch has got a Washington Huskies sweatshirt on. Oh, it's got to be Roger Melkai. Guys, if people act like, I mean, there are people that do know things and get information, but I'm just saying there's a lot of people that draw conclusions without actually getting reports. And they kept this really, really close to their vest. I don't even think Renardo had a 30 visit with the Niners, if I'm not mistaken.
Now, to be fair, what we do want to say, Rosengarten might have been one of the tackles because he did get picked by the Ravens right in front of them. So you said, Rohan,
that could have been the case.
They were looking to take offensive linemen, but the guys they didn't like guys that they liked didn't fall to them. So it prompted them to trade back one spot and pick up the extra pick, which I like that trade. So maybe they didn't like Suamataia, but Rosengarten could have been a guy that they really liked there. And because he went to the Ravens, it was like, all right, well, what are you going to do? You know what I mean? So
exactly. The thing about it as well,
yeah.
I want to ask this to you guys now.
Yep.
We have some rationale, obviously, around the pick. Let's say the Niners don't address tackle at all in this class. They maybe go with interior guys. Are you guys disappointed a little bit if they don't at all address the position in this draft?
If they get a good interior guy, no, I wouldn't be that disappointed.
They have. Here's the thing: when you're drafting at 31, which is the worst spot to be because you lost the Super Bowl. This just in, we lost the Super Bowl. There was not going to be. I would have been fine. Here's the thing: we would have been fine with Kingsley last night at 31. A lot of us, right? He went at 63. I think at that position, they felt like they didn't want to reach for a position a player that they didn't value at that spot. And I will say, regardless if I agree with the 49ers at all times, which I definitely don't, I value the fact that they didn't do that. I do not want this team to reach for positions of need. And whether we disagree with the pick or agree with the pick, if you're not convicted on it, you should not be reaching for a guy just because you think you got to.
Malachi Corley went to the Jets.
That's great.
He traded up with Carolina and took Malachi Corley. That's interesting.
Yeah, he's not a receiver, much like Debo, right? Like he's
no, but he's a good weapon for them. You know what I mean? It doesn't surprise me.
100%. In fact, I thought if there were talks about Debo trades, like, cool, could the Jets give up a third rounder? I was like, actually, that's like Debo, poor man's Debo, but like, hey, great value in the third round if that's what you're going to use him as.
Wow. Yeah, I like the player a lot. I really wish they would have gone offensive line, and I think that there's some really good corners in round 3 that are going to be coming up, especially with gaining that capital. But I do love the versatility. I'm not mad at the Renardo Green pick at all. I wish they would have went slightly different, but I'm not. It's not the end of the world for me. We'll see what they do here in round 3. And there is some good offensive linemen, interior offensive linemen that are left, some very, very good ones. And they still can be agile here and trade up if they want. Picking up that extra pick, just like I'm talking about, they could have traded up for a corner. Well, if they have those corners slotted well behind Renardo Green, then go with Green and then trade up and get yourself a guard. There's a lot of really good guards left. So go get one of these guys, man.
I just want to say, though, just to stop
And
with
centers.
this,
There's a couple centers too.
one thing I'm tired of is just lazy scouting. I got David Lombardi saying, "Can I mention his name? Can I not mention his name? Is that bad?"
I don't really want to give him any airways here.
Well, I'll just say somebody. The 14 PBUs tell a story. He's telling a nice story. Well, Green is more instinctive than pure fast. 4.4940. You just looked at his 40 and you don't think he's fast? Like, what is that even?
I was actually going to ask you, David, because from what I watched, and I'm going to watch more, I don't think he's a pure straight line guy. I think the press and the physicality that he brings to it helps him in that department. So I wonder, do you prefer him inside or outside with his long range speed?
Outside. Here's the thing. Like, this guy is a guy that can put a guy on an island. He is locked up against some of the best receivers in this draft and shut them down. Okay. He's put clamps on these guys. Like, I don't understand what I'm going to go down. I've been saying this I haven't put it on the timeline, a couple brief things, but I've had a lot of comments. I had a couple guys just message me that you've been talking to me on DMs forever about Renardo Green. I don't understand what other people are missing with him. I just don't.
It's a very good player.
And
FYI,
he, like you said,
Wallace just went to the Patriots. Caden Wallace, I don't know what is this, 68 Patriots.
Wow, that's so high. And here's the thing. I've been talking about Caden Wallace. I felt that Caden Wallace, this is controversial. I liked him more than Fashanu. I actually thought he's not as athletic as a high ceiling. He's a lot more refined. He's a better player right now than Fashanu is. Caden Wallace is super, super underrated. And he went to where?
Patriots.
Oh, and the Commanders took?
I think they took Brandon Coleman. Commanders took Brandon Coleman.
Oh.
TCU.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't like that pick. Trey Benson is a running back in the third. As the Cardinals are at, like, low key having a great draft. Marvin Harrison, Darius Robinson, Max Melton, Trey Benson. A lot of people think he's RB1.
Oh, they got Max Melton too?
Yes. Yeah. Monty Ossenfort for the Cardinals are really look.
Whoa.
That's my favorite draft. Period. I would have said I thought the Vikings
killing it.
Yeah, they absolutely are. And the Seahawks got Byron Murphy, right? And I don't know I can't remember who did the Seahawks take in the second round. Or did they have a draft?
I don't
pick?
think they had a second round.
They didn't. You're right.
Spider Niner says, what extra capital? They traded back one spot with the Chiefs and then swapped picks. It was what was it?
173 from 2.
Yeah.
They went from 211 to 173.
Yeah. So there you go.
So that's a 38 selection. That's a
round. And that's my bad. It's not extra capital. It's not an extra pick. I was stating it as an extra pick. It's not. They moved up significantly. So my bad. Wording was off. Got a little bit excited. They didn't pick up an extra pick. So that's my bad.
But that's great because the Niners don't need extra picks. I wish more teams would.
No, I agree with that.
These pick swaps are great. I love it because you don't want to be stuck with 15 picks in a draft. There's no reason for that.
Yeah. Matt, if we draft Hunter Norzad round 4, I'll be. And then Shady Luke says Green is a really good pick. I like that for San Francisco. Hey, and here you go. I mean, he's a Philadelphia Eagles fan, and he's just spitting it how it is. He's a very good player. Very, very good player. So, woo. Okay.
Jesse, I want to point this out because now I'm getting a little ahead of myself. I'm looking at trade down teams. Chicago Bears are at 75. They have 2 more picks in this draft. They are a team that could look for some extra picks. They're at 75, and then their last pick is at 122. Could you see them potentially as, a trade down team? Or, I mean, there are a couple of other ones that I'm looking at as the board goes along, but I'm curious if the Niners are looking to trade up. Where would that spot potentially be? Chicago.
I think the Niners should be looking to trade up at this point. They definitely should be looking to trade up. I don't know. I don't know if they will be. I mean, I feel like. Sorry, guys. The super chats. Who did you take? Corum?
Junior Colson.
Junior Colson. That's a very good pick.
Yeah.
Very good pick.
So go watch. If you guys get the film, and Jesse, you probably have the all 22 or Rohan. Go watch Renardo Green against LSU, and I think it was in.
I watched that game. I've watched that game.
Again, watch him what he does against Malik Neighbors.
Okay.
Just watch. And Malik Neighbors, there were talks that some people had him as wide receiver 1, and you would tell me who the better player was on that day. I'm just saying, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't
He's a
know
good
if
player.
I don't understand why Quinyon Mitchell was. I just don't. Quinyon Mitchell in the MAC, I get like a guy like Khalil Mack has to some things translate at edge with like those pure traits. I see Quinyon Mitchell. I think those things can translate. I don't know if it will, and that's why I wasn't willing to draft him in the first round. I'm just saying that Niners fans are disappointed about not having tackle. I hear you and I respect that. I just please go watch this guy.
Well, can I ask you? Can I ask you?
Yep.
They're both on the board, flash in a pan, Sua Mataia or Green. I know you like Green.
Yeah.
But who would you have preferred there? They're both available. Who do you take?
Yeah, I like Swamataia a lot. And I had Swamataia higher in that regard because I know of what value the Niners need at tackle. And I think that Swamataia can become a really good player. Right now, I don't know if he is that right away. And I know that Renardo Green is better at what he does right now than Swamataia is at the pro level at what he does. Okay. That being said, I still would have been completely fine with Kingsley. I'm telling you, though, unequivocally, yes, I thought they're going tackle, so that was kind of feeding. I'm not going to hedge here. I probably would have said Rosengart and Swamataia because I thought that would be a good place to get a tackle. And I'm like in zero disappointment.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Sorry, guys. Super chats normally get put in their own thing. I don't know what's going on. StreamYard's not doing it for this stream. Nope. I don't know what's up. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Jim Harbaugh just finally took a Wolverine. Junior Colson.
No. We already said that, I thought. Did we not?
Sorry.
Rohan, you called that?
Yeah.
Did you?
I'm sorry.
I thought it was David. I was like, David, did you already say that? I thought David said it. I was like, hold on a second. I'm deja vu.
I'm losing it.
Dabuda says this pick just gave me swamp ass. Brother Bob says we really want Kingsley, so Kyle will go running back. He was saying that I think before the pick, obviously. Sorry guys about the super chats. Like I said, they're normally filed away. They're not doing that for me, so I don't know what's going on. I'll have to be more on it than normal. Shady Luke, got yours. Matt says, well, I guess we will see when the season starts who drafted the best. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Jesse,
Caps America says,
would you have preferred Swamataia or would you have preferred
Yeah, for sure. Or Haynes.
Yeah.
Or Haynes, I would have been fine with. And like I said, but I'm really big on the corners in round 3. Like I thought I've been talking for weeks that round 3 is where you go corner. It's super, super deep. You should be able to get a good one. I like Cam Hart. I like Kyrie Jackson. I like Newton. There's
Andrew
a lot
Phillips
of players.
Just went at 70, I believe, to New York. So the Giants just took Andrew Phillips.
Okay, that's a good pick for them. Caps America says Puny or Tevin Wallace. Did Puny not go? I don't know. I wasn't here. I thought, is Puny still there?
He's there. He's there.
Okay. Well, and again, there's another one that I like. What is it? Amagadeji or whatever his name is. Kieran. I don't know how to say his name very well, but either way, he's still there. I like him a lot too. I like him a lot. So, and you are right about him against Neighbors. He killed it, David. He did kill it against Neighbors.
Yeah, and did you watch that game?
I'm like,
you're watching it right now?
Yeah.
No, he's a stud. I'm just going to tell you right now, and I did see the tweet about the star position. Look, when you got a guy who can play corner like he does, I think it's an absolute mistake. There's no way you're drafted him to play. And in the meantime, playing utility, Jimmy Ward had utility, that was amazing, and he could do a lot of things really well, not just jack of all trades. Like he could play in the slot, he could go outside, he could be a racer. That's not Renardo Green is not going to be that single high eraser like that, right? I don't think he could. He doesn't like he's not a bad athlete, but he's a true outside corner. Also, Trevin Wallace. The question about him, I think he's a phenomenal athlete. I think everybody's looking for Dre Greenlaw 2.0, especially with him hurt. But Trevin Wallace looks like a chicken with his head cut off and never knows really where he's going. I am not big fan. I'm on linebackers. I would not touch Trevin Wallace until day 3.
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with that. Jay Garza says Kansas City beat San Francisco again or best them. what the F, panicked when Baltimore took Rosengarten. Maybe they did, or maybe they didn't. Maybe they didn't.
Yeah, and now I'm seeing on my timeline everybody's talking about the neighbors game. I didn't tweet it out. I should have, but yeah, it's he's one of those guys that he can cover in a phone booth. You know, like he's
sticky. He's good, man.
He's sticky. He's got great instincts. And by the way, he hasn't missed a game. I think I don't know who. He hasn't been hurt. He's an Iron Man. He hasn't missed a game in years, right? Like he's never. It's like this. Yeah. I got a guy like 80-49, Brandon Dorless, Christian Haynes, Kalen Bullock. Give me 2 out of those 3. Yeah, that'd be great.
Kalen Bullock, yeah, please, yes, I'm with him. By the way,
yeah,
not a big fan of AD, but those names he just took, give me 2 of those 3, absolutely, and I'm super happy about it. Yes,
Brandon Dorless is one of the most underrated players in this draft.
He's still there, I think, right?
Oh yeah.
One thing I've done consistently when it comes to mock drafts, trading up in the 3rd round for a safety. I think with that capital, I think you've got the opportunity to. I wonder if there's a safety run sooner than later, and I wonder if the Niners ultimately go for that position because you have the capital, especially now you have the capital.
Yes, maybe. But again, I don't know how they view Green. Green has the versatility. Do not be shocked. They do this. They do this, by the way, where they take corners or they take safeties and they view them as something different. What's interesting is we'll find out tonight because they'll have their little press conference. And at some point, they'll probably bring it up. Hey, this is how we view him. If they view him differently than just a traditional outside corner, which, again, the star role, the versatility to play inside or out, I think he could project and be a safety. I really love the versatility, and I wouldn't be shocked to see him in any of those roles.
And here's my guy, Kyle Posey, KP. He says, hey, Renardo Green is Terrion Arnold without the projection. Played quarterback, safety, nickel, super competitive hitter. 47% of his snaps last year were in man coverage, right? We've seen what happened in the Chiefs Super Bowl. You've got to have guys that can play man and put pressure on that offense and those receivers. He allowed a 47 hilarious symmetry here. 47% of snaps last year were in man. He allowed a 47.4% completion percentage on 32 targets at only 1 touchdown. 15 receptions allowed and broke up 8 with 1 INT. And I don't care about INTs as much as other guys. I like coverage, like breaking up passes or erasing it. Dude, this dude is a absolute bona fide stud. I'm surprised, honestly, that I don't know if there's something there that people, because he never missed a game. I'm confused. I thought this guy was a for sure top 40 player.
Jordan Matthews says, Jay, they were never going O-line in the second. Okay, maybe not. 808 Niner. Why are these not starring automatically is the question. 808 Niner says, if we don't trade Debo in this round, then it looks like he is staying. I think them not drafting a tackle means they think Trent has at least 2 more years. I don't know that they can bank on that at all. Trent could have I don't want to say it, but Trent could retire at any time. He could have an injury at any time. You can't bank on those things. You have to be prepared for all things. So I don't know. But either way, I'm not mad that they didn't go tackle there. I'm really not. Now, sucks that the Chiefs got a player that we've all been talking about. They clearly liked him as much as we all did for them to move up and take him. And the fact that we all liked him, we know the Chiefs liked him. It sounds like the 49ers weren't as big on him. A little questionable.
Yeah. Maybe
the 49ers were right. We'll find out, but maybe the Chiefs and we were right. We'll see. So,
well, I will say, yeah, I mean, I just saw that. I think the 49ers right now, you should be happy to be a fan of this team instead of the Carolina Panthers. They just took Trevin Wallace, who I said I wouldn't touch till day 3. So they're drafting a linebacker that
who took him?
The Panthers. High 3rd round pick on a cornerback that is a huge liability in coverage. Traded up for a running back who's coming off a knee injury in the 2nd round with little capital. And then it was Xavier Legette in the trade up, and a guy that I felt like they could have just waited until their first pick in the draft. So yeah, I don't really know what the Panthers are doing. It looks like they're going to be mired in futility for a long time.
And I would say Tampa was there. I don't know that I like Tampa better. I like Tampa. I do, but I like the versatility of Green personally. So I'm not mad at it as far as that goes. Brother Bob says, Rohan, we haven't heard your voice since the Green pick. Yeah, you have.
Article. That's
Oh,
why.
cool.
Don't worry.
Multitasking.
We
My
working.
God. This guy.
This guy's hard at work over here, man. Shady Luke says, frustrating thing with the corners is that there are a solid amount of dudes who are sticky, but a guy that separates is somebody who can play the hands. I coach high school corners, not talked about enough. I agree with you. And by the way, Shady Luke, that is exactly why Ambry Thomas isn't fit to be a starter in this league long term. He's there often, but can't play the ball and can't play the hands. So I agree with you wholeheartedly. That you're talking exactly about Ambry Thomas right now, which is crazy. It's literally who you're talking about.
And speaking of corners, what I love about the Green pick is that I think all day he's outside, but you also have signed Isaac Yiadom, who I thought it was one of the more underrated signings. It's a 1-year contract, right? It's like, but I think he showed a lot last year at the Saints. I think he can come in, give Green a chance to maybe win that job and possibly move Lenore inside. I don't know, like what their plans are.
I think Lenore is going to move inside. I think that's the best spot for him personally. But
I agree, and I think that if just see what Yiadom does on the outside, I think that's the plan, and then see what Green does in camp, and then put him in that utility position where he might end up being a better player than Jair Brown, right? So like, yeah, and I'm not no slander on Jair Brown. But I think it's a good problem to have.
Oh, absolutely.
David, I want to throw one thing at you because you did say, initially how you don't expect Trevor's Ward to get extended. To me, I again, this is just looking at the profiles and things like that. Green seems like a similar player to Diamador Lenore. He's a physical guy with inside-outside versatility, similar frame at 6 foot, 185, 190 or so, a guy who can play press man, a guy who can play in a multitude of roles. Do you see him as a potential Diamador Lenore replacement on the outside if the Niners let him walk next year for a comp 3?
They're not going to let him walk. No, I don't. I think Renardo Green is a true outside corner. I think what he can do on the outside, when you have a guy that can do what he does on the outside and against one-on-one on islands with legit, blue chip prospects that are in the NFL and drafted in the top 5, you don't put him. I mean, I'm not saying inside doesn't matter, but you don't put a guy like that. You don't waste his talent. And I'm not saying nickel doesn't matter. I think Diamador Lenore is a guy they are prioritizing to extend. And I think that Treverius Ward as much, and I've been the stan of Mooney. I've said that he's the most, I thought when he's on and when he's healthy, that defense, he's been incredibly undervalued by the fan base in my opinion. I think that people talk about Fred, they talk about Nick and things like that. That being said, you're not going to be able to pay Diamador Lenore and Treverius on extensions like that. You're going to have to make a move, and I think this is prudent.
Caps America says Frank Crum 6'8", 313, second fastest 40, second fastest split. I don't really care about 40 time from an offensive lineman, but what I will say is he's a big body. He definitely is raw. Listen, if you want to take a flyer and take him in round 7 or something, I'm fine with it. Or pick him up as a UDFA. Definitely not reaching for him. I think maybe he can develop into something nice, but he's raw, very, very raw, and he plays very upright and gets off balance a lot. But again, as a 7th round pick or a UDFA, I wouldn't be too mad at it. So that's just me personally. There's nothing wrong with TJ Tampa. We were talking about him. We like TJ Tampa. TJ Tampa's a good player. He's a good player. He just doesn't have the versatility that Renardo has. So I prefer the Renardo thing just because you've got all 3. Okay, you've got arguably your 5 best corners are free agents after this season, and one of your projected starting safeties, free agent. If you bring back Demo, you have Renardo Green. You got 2 guys that can play inside or outside. I think Renardo can also play safety. You've got so much versatility there. which allows you, if somebody goes down or what have you, or it doesn't, you're not pigeonholed. So if you want to take somebody else in next year's draft, or let's say one of the guys on your team end up being, let's say Womack does pan out and he's a really good nickel corner. It's like, okay, well, great. Then you got Green on the outside and you got Demo on the outside if that's what you want to do, because Womack is pigeonholed to the nickel corner spot. I just like the versatility. I don't dislike TJ Tampa at all.
No, and again, I had my buddy Brian Klein. He lives in Iowa. He's an Iowa State guy. And that's the thing. He's like, "What made you change on Tampa?" And I said, "Nothing changed. I've always had Green higher than Tampa." But we were talking about that Tampa, and I was looking at the best available on ESPN, which is whatever. It's in front of my face. Tampa is. I would have been happy with Tampa completely. I would have been very excited about TJ Tampa. But he doesn't have that versatility, like you're saying. And I actually think that TJ Tampa is a little bit better in zone. He's not as proficient as Renardo Green is in that press man. Like, I mean, he can do it, but I feel like Tampa was a lot as a guy who in space is a little bit better. He's also not a top end athlete, but in my corners, I don't need the 4.2 Xavier Worthy speed. I think that's overrated. I want instincts, right? I want hips. I want the recovery and the ability to play through a receiver's hands, as I think Shady Luca talked about, right? Like both those guys can do that. But I think Renardo Green is just more aggressive.
And can I say this just so that people understand that David's not just talking out of his ass? February 5th, David tweets, Renardo Green, absolute stud. He then tweeted March 8th, my guys. What's up?
I said write it down too, like bookmark it.
Yeah, and you said write it down. Yep. March 8th, he tweeted his first team guys. He did starting player all the way from offense through defense, every position. At corner, he had Renardo Green.
Mm-hmm.
3 days ago, he tweeted, Renardo Green is my guy. April 13th, he also tweeted about him. And then 8 hours ago, there will be 68 in round 2 and 3, 68 selections. And I have 25 guys I'd be happy with in that range. The corners he had listed, TJ Tampa, Max Melton, Cam Hart, who I also love, Renardo Green. So,
and that was in no particular order. I was just looking.
No. You're just throwing them out there. Yeah. You just put them out there. So David is not just talking to talk. He truly does love Renardo Green. And this dates all the way back to February 5th.
No, I'm not a dude that's going to say I've been in on this guy all the time. And then I search my account and I had never talked about the guy ever. I'm not going to be that guy. If I'm a guy and say, oh, that's cool, I didn't look at that guy close enough. I'm not going to be a guy that said, yeah, this is one of my favorites. And then I go search my bar. It's like, oh, wait, but you've never had a conversation. You never brought this up on YouTube. You've never brought this about anybody. But now all of a sudden you're behind the player, which is awesome. But just, I'm not that person. Like, so I'm not going to say that I'm all in on a guy without telling you that I've been that guy.
David, I want to throw this at you because
Cowboys just took BB. Cowboys, hold on. Cowboys just took BB. That's a great pick by the Cowboys.
Nice.
Yeah. And Guyton, I thought where they got Guyton, honestly, I know I wasn't super high on him, but he could hit. Like Guyton could really be a really good player. So you had a question, Rohan?
Yeah, sorry, I wanted to throw this at you because the one thing that I'm looking back at my notes on Green, the one thing that stood out for me, change of direction, agility. May not be the fastest corner. His hips, though, I thought really impressed me in terms of him maintaining on every single type of route in a route tree. That's something that, when you look at press corners, that's something I especially look at because you might not be the fastest guy, but if you're able to flip your hips as quick as, as some of those faster guys, even faster than some of those guys, like a Cooper DeJean, you can fit that press roll really well. And I think that that's what also stands out about Renardo Green. What do you think?
Yeah, you guys are going to be at training camp. I'm going to try to get out there for a couple of times this year. Hope to see you guys there. And one of the things when you go to Levi's for training camp, you sit in the front row. The corner, you usually bring the corners and the DBs right on that sideline and do those drills where you're watching that hip movement. You're going to see it right up close. There actually are clips out there that show him doing those drills, and then you see it translate in the game. Like it's legit, and you're completely dead on. Like this is what I just got done talking about. Like that change of direction, right? That fluid ability to move your body and mirror the receiver. Those type of movements are so much more important than straight line speed. And then so a guy like, for instance, I'm drawing a blank. Seattle Seahawks. Everybody was like so crazy about him a couple of years ago. Young cornerback. Good Lord.
Good or bad?
Well, no,
Tariq
he's a big Tariq Woolen. Okay, big time athlete. I'm not as high on Tariq Woolen. Like Tariq Woolen's like, well, he's got this recovery speed. I said, that's great. That's awesome, and that does help. And like, I'll be telling you right now, like, coming out of the draft, Renardo Green is like way beyond Tariq Woolen when I had a grade on him, right? Like, and he's a better corner than he's a better at what he does. Tariq Woolen just has better athleticism, and to me, I'll bet on more than adequate athleticism and elite movement skills every day.
Trying to see.
Braylon Trice
here. Trice went
to the Falcons, and I like Trice. I thought he kind of became
round 3. It's not a bad pick. Yeah,
kind of a little tweenerish when he's, all of a sudden he shows up at the combine and they said he was sick. I always kind of have doubts about that because players are like, they try to cut weight because they want to run fast and then they realize they're dehydrated because they got bad advice. He's a little bit of a tweener for me.
What who'd the Falcons take in round 2?
They took Ruhe I can't say his last name. Yeah.
Oh, it's a good trade.
What?
They traded up a good amount though.
Yeah. Well, they got him at like 35. So it was pretty high.
Yeah, it's high, but I mean, whatever. Okay. Got some super chats here. Want to make sure that I get through this. Brother Bob says, Dave, so is Green a true outside corner?
Is Green? Oh, yeah. Yeah. And we talk about the versatility. I just don't want the versatility to overshadow what he is. He is an outside corner. He has done these other things, but make no mistake, you can line him up all over the field. He can do that. But he's absolutely a true outside corner. And that's why I'm so high on him. Like, if I'm drafting a corner, and I have no problem drafting a nickel corner second or third round if he was like elite. But if I want to go, I would have drafted Renardo Green higher than this, 100%. And outside corner all day.
Shady Luke says, also, just throwing this out there, people talk corners 40 times don't matter if the player's hips and movement are trash and the footwork is average. Absolutely. Love that. And he didn't have a bad 40 time. Brother Bob says, I love how Green is Dave's guy and not Ricky's guy. You were really upset. You were tight about that. I'm not going to lie, Brother Bob. Jay says the biggest team needs are GM, head coach, and OC. Wait, can't fill those in the draft. They say our roster is loaded and we have no needs. So then just take BPA. All right. Dabuda says Demo's a stud. Seen it day 1. Ward is injury prone. Yeah, man. I love Demo. Oregon guy. So, that's how that works. Brother Bob says, Dave, let's pour some wine right now for Green. Okay. I like it.
There you go, Brother Bob. Why not? Twist my arm.
There you go. Let's see. What else? So, okay. I will say this. Dallas took 2 players. And Guyton and BB. I liked BB. I don't think that I liked him more. Haynes hasn't gone, right? Is Haynes still there?
Haynes is still there. And he's a little bit older, but who cares?
He's still there and trade up. Jonah Ellis just went to the Broncos.
Good. I think that's a good spot. I think Jonah Ellis has a capability of transcending that draft spot, but he also could just be another guy.
So Dallas taking 2 guys that I was high on BB, but not as high as Haynes. And then I wasn't that high on Guyton. But what I will say is Dallas does a very good job of picking offensive linemen. So I'm going to defer to them that they probably got 2 pretty damn good players because they usually don't miss on. I mean, they kill the offensive line spot. So
I'm just going to keep bringing up posts about that are coming up hot from like big time people. RG3 is talking about Renardo Green. He says, was that dude at FSU? Watch his tape. You see no wasted movement. What did we just talk about? Right. Okay. So here's another thing. I'm just reading this for the first time from RG3. We already talked about what we see. I just want you guys to know I'm not trying to toot our own horns here, but like, trust us when we're saying this, we're not just like shooting from the hip, right? disciplined eyes, and he says, IDGAF, I don't give up who you are playing attitude. He played for one of the best DCs in the country. And yeah, I just back and back and back. I mean, it's just like, and what did he say about the Niners defenses? They fit me. They play like savages. They play like dogs. They hit. And when you got a guy who loves to do that, but also is sticky in coverage, I'm just ecstatic.
Wait, Adonai Mitchell went to the Colts?
Yes, at 52.
Dude, the Colts, I love that.
A guy who they could have targeted at 15 fell at 52. They traded back.
I mocked him at 15 to the Colts, bro.
Yeah,
I literally mocked him at 15 to the Colts.
And
my gosh.
You knew AD Mitchell was my guy too. I've talked about him a lot. And there have been a lot of reports that start to come out that interviews were really bad. Seemed disinterested, seemed like just kind of hard to engage with. And then it's like, and these were coming from teams that are interviewing him, not just, I'm not saying, you're trying to throw shade, but when you guy drops from 52 to has that type of talent, there's a reason. Like, you could say whatever you want, and teams make mistakes, but the Niners did like AD Mitchell. And I have a feeling that if maybe some of those things, I mean, there may have been some things about his personality that were really rubbing teams the wrong way.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
So,
Brother Bob says, we take a tight end. I'm pouring my wine. No, Dave, I like Green. If they take a tight end and it's Theo Johnson, you're going to see me celebrate. I'll just say that right now. I love Theo Johnson.
And
Bears took Yale offensive tackle Kyron Amageji at pick 75. The Broncos took Jonah Ellis, which we already knew. I like Kyron. I like that pick for the Bears.
Yeah,
I like
that's
that
a good
pick
selection
for the Bears, man.
We're flying.
That's a developmental tackle for him.
Well, it's only 5 minutes. 5 minutes on the clock. Yeah, I love what the Bears are doing. So that was the trade that you were talking about. Yeah, it's only 5 minutes in round 3.
Okay, great. I love that.
Delmar Glaze just went to the Raiders at 77. Maryland offensive tackle.
To the Broncos?
We're not watching NFL Network, dude.
Yeah. Broncos
what is he talking about?
Ellis, and then Maryland offensive tackle Delmar Glaze just went to the Raiders.
Oh, man, no, we're not watching NFL Network, dude. What are you talking about? Ian Rapsheet said that on NFL Network. Laugh out loud. David playing like he heard some ish about what wide receiver?
About who go speak up, buddy. Who do you?
What wide receiver? What?
AD Mitchell. Oh, you mean? Yeah, I didn't say that I'd heard that. I said that
this was like what?
I said
Mitchell, we were talking about like 25 picks ago. Yeah.
No, Ian Rapsheet. Yes, they did say that on NFL Network. That's what I'm saying. There are reports out there. I didn't say that I'd heard that from anybody. I didn't say I said that this is like just people have been talking about that. And it actually was something that they talked about, but there have been other things that they're like, is it medicals? And I said tonight they were talking about how there have been reports from teams because people had been watching the draft. That wasn't inside information.
Oh, okay.
What are you talking about? I didn't say I acted like I heard it from anybody.
Oh, he says he was joking.
Oh, okay.
I like Greek. Listen, Greek. No. Greek boy and I talk a lot. He does yank chains. He and I talk. I like Greek boy. It just came out a little weird. I was like, really? He's like, what? I honestly didn't know what he was referring to. I really had no idea. So I was confused.
You're joking. Okay.
Dazza says, so what happens if we don't trade Debo or BA? Where does Ricky fit in, and how does he make our team better this year? Listen, Dazza, that's one of my main points. If they get rid of Debo, it starts to make more sense because you've got somebody in Pearsall who is very polished at 24 years old. He's ready to go. Okay. When you're 23 years old in college and you don't really hit until your final year, that tells me that you've hit your next gear and you're almost there at your athletic peak is where he's at age-wise. So to me, he does have to play right away. So if he sits there and gets 35 catches this year, that would be super disappointing for a guy that they took in round 1 that will then be, by the way, 25 years old before he really sees the field, which is the same age that BA just had a miraculous year at. And year, 4 of his career, year 3 of his year, or whatever, however many years in he is. So I don't know, man. It's just
Ricky Pearsall is the plug and play player in their
year
mind.
4.
I guarantee it. He's going to play. He's going to be a slot receiver. They draft. You did not draft.
Jawan Jennings is not going to be the slot anymore. He's not going to be your third receiver.
Jawan Jennings was signed, and when they were making offers for trades, Jawan Jennings was a guy just like Deebo Samuel, just like Brandon Ayuk, that had the potential to be moved. Jawan Jennings is a good player. Jawan Jennings is a dog. Jawan Jennings is a complimentary player, and I love him. And Jawan Jennings is a big slot. He's a different player. There's different personnel. Him and Ricky Pearsall are completely different players. And Ricky Pearsall offers a lot more juice in that game. But what Jawan does is that he's a great blocker. He can do all those different things. But I don't view them as similar players. I don't view him as, I think he's a big slot. He's not a true slot that also can take the top off.
Dazza says, so what happens if, okay, yeah, that was that one. Okay, got it. CB Niner says, don't worry, Jesse, running back coming this round. I hope not.
If Jalen Wright, I'll be happy with it. I want the best players, guys. I don't
want a running back in this round. I'm sorry. It can't happen again.
Yeah, but if it's a good player, so my thing is, I've seen our team draft Jake Moody. I've seen our team draft. Yeah, you talk about running backs, but Trey Sermon, the running back nobody wanted. Tyrion Davis-Price, the running back nobody wanted. If they can actually draft a good player, I just don't have confidence they can do that at running back. But
Texans traded up to 78. There's a lot of picks happening that we're not getting anymore. They're not really announcing them like that anymore.
But this is 78, so I think we're caught up. But the interesting thing, Jesse, is that they traded 86 and 128, I believe, or
123, yeah.
So that's kind of the, if you're gauging it, that's kind of the market value for a trade up. If you're trading up 8 spots, you got to give up a 4th. And
Good.
So maybe, the Niners, as they're going up from 94 to maybe the early 80s, mid 80s, that could be, a spot. They got 3 4s. You could look to move one of those 4s and trade up if there's a guy, obviously, that they believe they could take in the 80s.
They have 3 4s and 2 5s. I mean, it's back to the 5th, but they've got 173, 176. You've got 124, 32, 35, 124, 132, 135, and then you got 94. So there's got to be movement. There's no way in hell they're staying pat there. They can't.
Colts trade up to 79 with the Cardinals. Okay. By the way, pick 79 has been in Jacksonville's hands, Atlanta's hands, Arizona's hands, and now the Colts' hands is what it looks like.
That's crazy.
So 78 isn't in yet, right? But 79 just got traded. Okay. Let's see.
It is in, but we just don't know what it is. Nobody's tweeting it, so this is kind of annoying.
Well, the thing is with these 5-minute clocks, I think you have to, it is a little dicier, right? I wonder how much time that they have to kind of get this going. But so it's Texans, Colts, Bengals, Seahawks. That's the order. That's the updated order.
Yeah, and pick is in from the Texans, but we don't know who it is. So everybody basically stops tweeting out the picks in round 3. It doesn't matter as much. Lame. Dazza says, so glad we're making a concerted effort to upgrade our O-line. Me too, man. Me too. Very happy about that, actually.
So my question to you guys is, if I'm, and I hate using the ESPN, go ahead and get your lines there.
Well, no, he says 49ers have lost so much front office and coaching talent. We're not an elite organization. But I like this right here, by the way.
What?
Joey might be onto something. Everybody and their mother knew that we liked Rosengarten, meaning the Ravens, for example, would be like, hey, I'm taking him here. You know what? You know what I mean? We start to look into him. We like him a lot. We got to get him ahead of the 49ers. I don't know. But
here's the thing, though. If they really wanted him, and I don't know, I thought they had the capital.
Why not trade up?
They could have.
If you had an offensive tackle, why not trade up?
And there were other teams that were trading up, and they said they didn't get fair trades. It's well, that means that you probably don't want him that much. Like, that's the thing is like the report was they were trying to move up for tackle. And if they really wanted Rosengarten, which I don't doubt necessarily. And well, what is a fair trade? Like, you're not going to have to give up 694 to move up a little bit in the second round. The idea that you could do a pick swap, do something like that. Maybe you give up 94 and gain something a little bit further back, right? I got a feeling if they really were like had Google eyes for Rosengarten, they could have figured out a way to get him. I don't think they wanted him that badly. Let's just put it that way.
That's fair. That's fair.
And that's life, right? That's the draft, you know. And I think that if the Niners aren't the only fish in the sea, we always follow the Niners, but we don't.
Bullock off the board at 78. Houston traded up for Bullock.
Okay, that's fine.
So safety off the board.
Yep.
Did they really? They got Bullock. Oh. Damn. I loved him. Dang.
Let's see here.
Dang, man. That sucks.
So we got about maximum 80 minutes left before the draft. The most time it could be before the Niners pick is an hour and 20 minutes, but I'm sure it'll go a little bit quicker than that. So
it'll go faster than that. Gosh, dude, that sucks. I love Caden Bullock. Love it. So the Colts are on the clock now.
Well,
Colts are on the clock.
Let's look at that though. Let's get a board up. We got 16 players. There's 16 picks before the Niners, right? Or 15 now. And I'm wondering, like, what are you guys prioritizing? I hate to say a position. TJ Tampa's still there. Let's just go to positions. Give me a position that you would like to see addressed, and then we'll look at players that are available.
Christian
I
Haynes
think
is
it's
still
interior
there.
offensive line right now.
Yeah,
okay.
We thought the same thing.
So
I
let's
think
look at
interior
guard.
offensive line right now.
Christian
Is
Haynes.
Frazier still there? Hold on, is
No.
Frazier got
Frazier's
drafted, right?
gone.
Okay, yeah.
By the way,
I
Jermaine
wasn't
Burton-
around, so yeah.
Yeah.
So-
So Matt Goncalves was the trade up for the Colts at 79. Jermaine Burton goes at 80 to the Bengals.
Okay. How are you getting all this so quick?
Tweets.
Are-
Schultz.
People are tweeting?
Yeah, Schultz said it. Oh shoot. Haynes just went. You're gonna hate the team. Seattle. Haynes to Seattle at 81.
So
Dude.
the Seahawks are nailing it. They only have 2 picks, and they have Haynes. I had 30th on my board. Haynes is a first-round caliber player for me. And they have Byron Murphy, who was my favorite defensive player on the board. He was a top 5 pick on my board. And hold on one second.
Golly, man.
So yeah, it's a great draft for the Seahawks. And here's the thing. You don't have to draft 10 guys to have a great draft. They could go home tonight and it doesn't matter. You've made your team better. Now, I think there's a lot of teams that can still do that. And as much as like, yeah, I don't put the Niners on par with it because Byron Murphy is like amazing, right? He's again, I had him top 5 on my board. He's probably the top, if I really wanted to say it, he's the best defensive player. So you can put him wherever you want. Top 3, top 2, I don't care. Christian Haynes is my best interior lineman by far. And yeah, the Seahawks they got a lot better. But hey, that's where the draft is. There's a lot of good. Everybody was saying like, oh, this draft isn't as deep. Right now it is though. I really feel like this draft through the 4th round is actually really solid. Now after that, it's not great, but guess what? When is it ever? People talk about the Niners getting like 5th round picks. It's a little bit of a crapshoot, but most teams, if you go look at drafts, go look at the 5th, 6th, and 7th round. Go look at the 4th round. Go look at the 3rd round the last 2 years, right? I actually think in this draft, there's more parity. There's actually more depth in that 2nd through 4th than there has been. And if there's a fall off to the 4th, who cares, right? That's why I want to see the Niners kind of move up and get some picks in here.
You say Jordan Schultz is still tweeting it, by the way?
Yes.
All right. Need to add him to my notification list.
And to be fair, the Bengals taking Jermaine Burton. He was a guy that fell just like A.D. Mitchell. There was some, I'm not saying just like, I don't know exactly what Mitchell's story is, but Jermaine Burton's well documented, right? Was like head case, attitude, yada, yada, yada. I'll tell you this. I'll take the talent of Burton at 80. We talked about this last night when A.D. Mitchell was at Georgia, Jermaine Burton was at Georgia, Ladd McConkey was at Georgia, Darnell Washington and Brock Bowers were at Georgia. There are a couple of the guys I'm not even remembering now that were at Georgia taking targets. That was a talented team. Jermaine Burton's a dude. And to get him at 80, really good pick.
Oh man. CB Niners, it makes sense to trade Debo next year only to save $7 million if he goes this year. I get that. My thing with Debo though, next year Brandon Ayuk's deal kicks in. You're already paying $15.5 million for Armstead to not be on this team.
Yep.
I would rather eat the full cap hit this year when you have the money and not have to worry about paying anything next year. That, for me, that would be ideal. I understand you only save $7 million, but that's because money is offset if you wait till the June 1st. And if you wait till next year, then you're going to pay for Debo over the course of the next 2 years, most likely, depending on when you decide to get rid of him. So I don't know, man. I'd rather just get it out and get done with it personally and not have to pay him next year to not be on this team.
And here's
and
the thing.
Armstead to not be on this team.
Excellent point. And Rohan might have said it or somebody else. The Niners aren't going to go make some splash free agency signing with this money. So and I know that sounds like sour grapes. I don't know if it was you, Rohan, or somebody had said this. So I don't want to credit you. I think you might have been you. Where it's like,
yeah, I said this earlier today.
Yeah, on Twitter. I saw you on Twitter. Yeah. So this idea that there's not this money's going to get spent. It's not going to get spent elsewhere, like filling in this roster, right? You're going to pay your draft picks, but there's nobody out waiting in the wings that's going to come in to make this roster better with Debo's money. That's already committed. And I know that sounds like, so you don't want to be the sunk cost where it's like, oh my God, well, we get, no, like take the dead money now. And you can survive with it and then be done with it. Now, that being said, you could wait till after June 1st and incur less. So,
but you're going to push it to next year, which is kind of what I'm trying to avoid. This is actually a really funny thing, real quick. GM Joe Douglas and head coach Robert Saleh with a draft day reference. They shared their text back and
Arizona
forth
at 82. Tip Ryman, Arizona, 82.
I'm not. Tip's fine. He's fine. I like what's his name better. But Robert Saleh, or excuse me, Joe Douglas sent a picture of Corley to Robert Saleh this morning and said, "No matter what." And Saleh responded, "No matter what." And then they ended up trading up for him and getting him. I think it's kind of a funny story. Tip Ryman, I like Tip Ryman. He's a big boy. But I prefer Theo Johnson. I'm a Theo Johnson guy. So, and Cody, that should answer your question. Theo Johnson, I don't know. Listen, I don't know that you're going to get a guy to quote unquote replace Kittle.
Yeah.
But you got to start looking towards that. Theo Johnson, I think, is a good start.
Is still on the board, guys.
Look, Jatavion Sanders, I don't understand this. I get he's not the greatest athlete in the world, like with his testing numbers. But what I saw on the field is, I get it. I get he doesn't maybe have the twitch in the combine. I also think that when I see him, what he does on the field, like, and what he does with his, I don't quite understand. I was too knee jerk, like in early January when I saw him play. I'm like, oh, I could take this guy at 31. I mean, I walked that back. Right? I wouldn't take him at 31. But like, I don't think he's a day 3 player. Okay, I think this is a guy that can really give you something over the middle. You don't need. Not every tight end has to be George Kittle, right? 4.50 kind of 40. It doesn't have to be that. Like you can. There are more the way. There's a lot of tight ends that make their living in the NFL that aren't Sam Laporta, right? And the fact that he can do that, he can play an H-back role, he can be an offensive weapon, and maybe that's why he's sliding. But boy, I tell you this: if you were sitting at 94 and Jatavion Sanders is there and they took him, I would be very pleased with
position
that.
To start. That would be a pretty darn good draft. You know, if Jatavion's there, I like Eric Hall as well. I'm a guy who
I do too.
I'd target him on day 3. But
he's just an injured man.
Yeah.
Well, another tight end that I like a lot is who's not, again, the big athlete, but is maybe the best blocker and can be a weapon that I think the Niners really could use. And especially Kyle's going to get AJ Barner out of Michigan. I think he's going to go higher than people think. I think that he's a guy that I could see the Niners targeting, much like they did for a guy, Charlie Warner. And AJ Barner's a much better a receiver than Charlie Warner ever was at college at Georgia, and he's just as good of a blocker. I could see him being a fourth or fifth round target potentially.
Let me get through these supers real quick. They're piling up a little bit. Yeah, it says grade this draft so far. I was at a C+ last night. I feel a little bit better about it today. I'll go to a B. Say we're at a B.
Yeah. You guys know, and it's hard to see my reaction because Renardo, I was so geeked about. I was more tempered on it. I thought it was a reach, but I also think on different people's boards, I had him at 50. I know people that had him at 35. I know people that had him at 39 and 40, right? I do think that Ricky Pearsall, what he can do in this offense, I do think he's more plug and play than people think. I'll say in that B range though. Yeah. Because I don't like doing this early. But I'll say this with those two guys, you could do. Here's the thing. I've come off of draft nights being like, what are we doing? Pearsall,
Blake Corum just went to the Rams.
That's fine. I think Blake
no,
Corum,
that's an interesting pick. I mean, now they've got two running backs, right?
And
him
and
and Kai, that's a good 1-2 tandem. I'm not gonna lie.
Kind of. I mean, I like Kyron. I don't understand. Like Blake Corum, you can't put him in pass protection. You can't. He can't do it. He can't block. And I know that to say, like, but if you're drafting in third round, you're going to bring a guy in like Kyron Williams, a guy that's already doing these things. Like, if you're going to put him in passing downs, can you really rely on that? And is he a guy you're going to do? Like, I don't know. I'm not as high on Blake Corum as others. I want a guy with more juice.
It's better them than us, right? Can we say that?
That's right.
Dazza says, and the 49ers didn't want Kingsley either after they gifted him to the Chiefs. Apparently not. Brother Bob says, not winning a Super Bowl this year without Debo, trade next year. They're not winning a Super Bowl this year. I hate to break it to you, Brother Bob. Jay says, Jesse, what are they doing? Make it make sense. Haynes at 63 was a huge value. 49ers reach because the GM is not the head coach. Dude,
I will say
he's not the head coach's boss, is what he's saying.
Like their value on offensive line is lower than what our value on offensive line is.
Well, that's clear.
Everybody's value on offensive line across the NFL, not just ours, right? We're not the experts, but a lot of teams have higher grades on a lot of these guys. And here's what I will say. Again, I've got us at a B. I like the two players we got. Everybody knows Pearsall, I thought, was a reach. I thought that there were good offensive linemen there that you could have went. They didn't do that. Great. Then they got Renardo Green. Love Renardo Green. But contrary to what we've done, which has gone skill position, you've got teams like Seattle that have gone trenches and trenches. So, those have different philosophy. Listen, I get it.
Yep.
I'm just saying different strokes for different folks, I guess, is the way that it is. I prefer to go trenches, though.
Here's the thing that I will say. There are not that many people. I'm looking at best, and it's just ESPN's list, but it's pretty slim now because there's just, I'm looking by position. And I'm looking at my own list. OG at guard. There's only, I'm not saying there's guys down the road. I'm just looking at guys that I would be like day 2, high day 3. There's not a single guard left that I have that kind of grade on. Center. Guys I really like. Bo Limmer. I'm higher on Bortolini than others, but you got to work Hunter Nourzad. So Hunter Nourzad and Bo Limmer, two centers I really like. I don't look at anything as a reach anymore in this draft. I'm just going to tell you that right now. It doesn't exist because the talent falls off. You got to get your guys. Nourzad and Limmer I like. But OT, underrated guy that I think a lot of people don't talk about is Tylen Grable, but he's still out of UCF. Dominic Puny is a OT, but I move at guard. So Dominic Puny would be a guy that I really, really like. But there's not many guys. And that's the risk you take. Like you just said, Jesse, is that, and Rohan, you had alluded to this. At this point, though, if you've already made that decision, you cannot force. You must still go BPA. You have to draft the best players available, period. And figure it out later.
I feel like they already effed that up in round 1. I'm just throwing that out there. But Christian Mahogany, we're talking round 3. We're talking interior guys. I like him at guard. Not center. I know you were talking center specifically, but throw him out there as a guy that I would love to have right now at the end of round 3.
Honestly, like that. I know we were talking about trade up. I'm pretty content with where the Niners are right now. Again, I think that they're in a good spot to get another player. I think though, you're hoping you don't fall, in that dead zone once the talent goes off the board by the end of that 4th round. So curious where they make moves, but I think, I'm just thinking off the top of my head. Roman Wilson just went to the Steelers, but could the Niners trade up in the back end of the 3rd round from the 4th? Could they package multiple 4s and try and get back into the 3rd round if they have multiple players they like?
Coach G says, do you think Slick Rick will get enough targets? Not if Debo's still on this team. And that's part of the frustration in taking a receiver who's going to be 25 after his rookie year. All Niner, is there any sentimental part of you guys that wants Rice or Gore? No. No, I think there's much better players. Absolutely not. I could care less.
That's a great question. It is a great question. It is a great question. But for me, no, not at all. Not at all. Neither. I'll say, and you said we don't need to align just Brock and so for Dave. You sending me DMs? Good.
Let's see. Oh yeah, there you go.
Oh, he did send me. Oh Lord, help me. It's a video too. I don't know if I can.
Oh God. Yeah, you might want to mute. There. But no, I think this is a great question. I think it is a great question. Not me personally. All Niner, what about you? I'm going to throw it back to you. Is there anything sentimentally that makes you want those guys? I think it's an awesome question. I'll throw it to the whole chat, actually. You guys say it in the chat. Would you want one of them on the team because of the last name?
For me, sorry.
Caps America says we still take Luke at 135. Cabo Boys in full effect. Not trading Debo. He's Kyle's guy. People forget he separates better than 75% of the NFL. Stats back it.
Debo?
Debo?
Debo doesn't separate. Debo is great with yak and with the ball in his hands, and he gets schemed into space. But Debo really struggles in separation when he's on go routes, or if he's anything on if he's lined up man on man on the outside, Debo's not separated.
Caps comes in and says Owens, and then Joey Nichols says Rice is way better than McCaffrey. I disagree. I don't think Rice is very good, man.
I actually like McCaffrey the most of any of the legacy players.
I do too. I do too.
And it's not because I'm betting on Bloodline, but like what I've seen, people forget that Luke McCaffrey started at quarterback at Rice. He hasn't even been playing receiver that long, and he's an absolute stud. And that is the McCaffrey bloodline. And I do believe him. I know John Lynch said this, but bloodlines are real, and it's not just the bloodlines. It's like the genes matter, but what you're raised around. Like, Ed McCaffrey's your dad, CMC's your brother. Like, it makes sense, right? One of my best friends growing up, his name was Young, and he had 5 siblings, and they were all nicknamed Youngsy, and they were all the best athletes in our school, and they all went to play minor league baseball or do whatever else they did, right? Luke McCaffrey is actually a really good player, and if he had been playing receiver all the way throughout and went to a blue blood Power 5, he'd probably be a day 2 player, and he might actually end up being a day 2 player. We're not done yet.
I agree. Yeah, I like him better. I'm not big on Rice personally. That's just me.
Brendan
Rice
might
be fine.
No, Brendan Rice is not. You talk about separation. He's not a separator. And then Kyle, what did Kyle say last night about Ricky Pearsall? What's the first thing he talked about? What matters to Kyle. You've got to be able to set. He got Debo as a offensive weapon, right? He had an idea for how he was going to use Debo, and he's done that. And where Debo specializes is over the middle of the field in spots where he's like mismatched against linebackers, right? Slot corners that can't match his physicality. Those are the type of things that Debo. And then when Debo does get the ball in his hands, man, he's a beast. No doubt about it, right? But no, I don't think Brendan Rice. I don't see the role. I don't understand it. The other guy, Frank Gore Jr., he does look like his dad. He
plays exactly like his dad. Identical, dude. It's so wild.
Yeah. I've never seen a dude that looks more like their dad though than Frank Gore Jr. It's kind of scary. 49ers on the clock. They've traded. 49ers traded up. The 49ers have traded up.
Who they trade with?
I'm trying to get that on Eagles trade down. 49ers trade with the Eagles up to pick 86. So they moved up 8 spots. And I don't know who the Browns have selected here. The Browns are on the clock. Pick is in for the Browns. As the Niners are up next. Rohan, you are missing this one. That's okay.
That's crazy.
Rohan,
the Niners are on the clock.
Of course, as soon as I freaking get out of the room for 30
They
seconds,
just made a trade.
Jordan Schultz says,
No way.
trade up with the Eagles to continue to move down and stockpile more picks. Big deal. Okay.
I don't care what the Eagles are doing. This is fine with me because the 49ers have the capital to move up. So I have zero issue with this. By the way, their second trade, I had 2 bold predictions. I had 2 bold predictions coming into this draft. One of them was they would trade at least twice. The other one was they would take a receiver in round 1 or round 2. I hit on both those bold predictions. Just gonna toot my own horn. You know what I mean?
So they like we said, 8 spots you give up your fourth.
No,
Yeah, into the fourth.
Their second 4th round pick. So they still have 124, 135, 173, 176. You can't spend all these picks and make the roster.
No.
I love this. Get your guy. And I'm not saying that, it might not be the guy that we want, but the Browns are on the clock, right? Has that been announced yet?
Yeah.
No.
I think the Browns pick is in, but it's not announced.
No.
Okay, so I'm looking at the guys who it could be here, and let's see here.
Could it be linebacker? Surprisingly, Peyton Wilson is not surprising that he's still on the board.
I hope not. I really hope not. I think it's going to be Brandon Dorless. I think it's going to be.
I'd love Dorless. I would not be mad at Dorless right now.
I could see this being
mad at Dorless.
I could. Back-to-back Wolverines. It says, unless I missed a pick.
No, that was for the Wilson.
That's just Schefter being late as usual.
That was for Browns. Zach Center.
So Dorless and Wingo are 2 of my guys that I really like at defensive tackle. From LSU, I had Wingo above Mason Smith. Actually, the Jaguars went because of length. Zach Center, guard.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're on the clock. Yeah. So here's another guy.
Browns took him.
Here's another guy I really like is Jalix Hunt, edge player out of Houston Christian. He's a freak. He's a guy that can go all over the field. I'd be looking at a guy like that. I'd also be looking at a guy like Dominic Puny here at guard / tackle. I could be wrong on all fronts.
Mahogany. I'll be fine with Mahogany as well.
Mahogany too. Also, for whatever reason, if they have a trade in the works, for whatever reason at receiver, they double up on receiver. I'm just going to say,
49ers take Dominic Puny.
So
good pick.
That's my guy.
A great pick.
And I said that. That was my guy, the only interior lineman other than center that I had. I love this. I absolutely. Zach Greer is a KU stan. Zach's one of the nicest guys on 49ers Twitter. He has horrible food takes, but I love the kid. The kid, he's an adult, but I'm 42 almost. Oh my God. This is awesome. I love
great pick. This is a great pick.
And so here's the thing. This is what makes the Renardo Green pick great because I like Christian Haynes a lot, but I didn't have Puny much below. I didn't have Puny that far below in talent. I had him further below down the board because of other players in different positions. But honestly, this takes me up right now. If I'm doing grades, I'm at a strong B+ right now with this draft. I like all these players are contributors. All these players are really good at what they do. I like this. I haven't actually been, and you guys maybe you've done with shows with me over the years. I haven't been
a great pick.
This excited about the potential of the first 3 picks in a while. So
I love this pick.
Well, they're not going to be able to have the ammunition to get back in the third. I think they're done for the night. But so let's talk.
Do you think he is a guard or do you think he's a tackle? Or
I think he's everything. I think he's
versatile. All 5.
He can play center. He can play guard. He can play tackle. And I think he played mostly tackle at KU. But here's a guy that has that utility, and I love that because even if he's not a guy that goes and starts right away. He could be swing tackle. He could do these things and make his way up there. And then just like Aaron Banks, but he's not going to redshirt like Aaron Banks did. He'll play.
Can we say this? The theme of day 2, versatility.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
That's the theme of day 2 is versatility. So
I wish Zach Greer could just come on the show right now because he's got to be so happy. I'm so happy for him. I have to send him a message here.
that's great. I love that pick, man. I love that pick.
I'm so stoked.
Love it.
I love that we just talked about it. Like, because he was the only non-center that I wanted in the interior. I know Mahogany, but Marco, I was not as high on Mahogany as Puny. I like Mahogany, but he's not the same tier to me. I thought Puny was a late 2, early 3 guy. Love him.
I thought similar, like in the 60s, somewhere in that range. So, and the best part is the Niners didn't sit. They went and they got their guy.
Yep.
You don't want to be in a situation that you might have been in the second round where you're looking at a tackle goes behind you, you go up and you get your guy.
Mm-hmm.
Versatility, man. They got you just like you said, you got a guy in Puny who can play technically all 5 spots, but however you see it, swing tackle, guard, whatever you want to do, you got that. Renardo Green, super versatile. I think he could play safety. I think he can play nickel. I think he can play outside. Versatility is your theme today, man. That is your theme today. Great job, San Francisco, trading up, going and getting an offensive lineman finally, but not just any offensive lineman, one with, you heard it, versatility. All right, let me get to a couple of these super chats real quick. Dazza says, I gather Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch are not concerned about Trent retiring and protecting a potential $50 million quarterback. You said this before they made the pick, so I'm going to cut you some slack, Dazza, but not as much as maybe you were. I'll say that. Is James Williams an option? Are you talking about round 3? Obviously you said this before, so not anymore. Sorry, I didn't get to this sooner. Jay Garza says, finally, thank God, someone to protect Purdy. There you go. There you go. There it is. Got an offensive lineman. There it is. There it is. Now, I love this. I love both these picks today. I went from a C plus last night, or C, or wherever I was at. I think I was at a C plus, and I'm at probably between a B and a B plus right now. I love this. I love this.
I don't even think they're done. I would not be surprised if you trade back to one of those compensatory slots in the hundreds.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
I can't see it. Because here's what you got. You got 124, 135. That's not going to be enough because the compensatory today ends at 100. I don't think that's enough to move up.
Okay, and it's not. It doesn't go deeper into.
No, they had, because the thing was this year. Remember, Jimmy Garoppolo was supposed to be a compensatory third, and then that bum got moved to a fourth. There were a couple guys like that, and so then they had to give that up. So yeah, compensatory usually goes a little bit further. Like I think Danny Gray a couple of years ago was a compensatory third at like 105, 106. This year it's like topped out at 100. So I think so. It would take 124 and 135 isn't going to get you to 100. It could, but at that point, I doubt it. I doubt it.
David, I don't know about you. I'm pretty damn surprised that TJ Tampa is on the board here at 88.
Me too. Well, that's surprising.
I am surprised, and I know he might not be the best fit for certain teams, but still.
Yep. No, and my dad just texted me. He said Puny is my dad's a Big 12 guy, right? Obviously, he's an Iowa State grad. My dad refed JUCO D2 D3. He was a Des Moines Officials Association president for like three decades. So he's a college football guy ref, and we always watch games together. He watched, when you watch from a ref's perspective, I will say, like growing up like that, you watch games differently. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not patting myself on the back, but like that is what I grew up around, and so. He's texting me that Puny's a great pick. He watched a lot of ball. And I was like, yeah, he is. It's like, I said, you only said that because he was in the Big 12.
No, yeah.
But, he does.
I love that pick.
He's excited. So.
Brother Bob says, will Puny take any snaps from McGiveth Dave DMs. I
got it, brother Bob. I got it, baby. Cheers.
I don't know. I mean, he's gonna have to earn it. But he's very versatile. Chuck Lee says he's a run blocker. Yeah, he is, but it's not because he doesn't have the frame or the athleticism to be a good pass blocker. Like he can develop into a really good pass blocker, and he's not a bad one. He's just a better run blocker. He's got great length, great athleticism. He moves well. Like he's not one of these guys that gets tall and out of position. He stays in position. With his arm length, he can fend off defenders. I think he could be a really good pass blocker as well. Really good pass blocker. So I don't look at him as like solely this run blocking guy that is not going to be able to be a pass blocker. He's good. He's got some good length, I think.
I think he yep.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, please finish. I did. Yeah.
Listen, people love this arm length thing, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, he's 33-inch arms." No, he plays out in front very well. There's not a lot of guys that get inside his hands and put hands on him before he puts hands on them. That's just me personally. I think he plays very, very long for his size. And again, people are talking about Brendan Rice. I know it's a different position. For a guy as big as Brendan Rice, he gets bullied an awful lot. So you can be big and play small, and you can be quote unquote small and play big. Steve Smith, what have you. He plays with great length. So
no, I am. It's been a while, actually. I'm going to be honest with you. And I know there was a little bit of a sting initially with Pearsall. Like I said, though, walking it back, I like Pearsall quite a bit. I think that he has a potential to really fill a strong role that ends up having more utility than people think. Renardo Green, I'm over the moon about. And I had Puny super high as a guard. And the fact that they were able to get him where they did, I'm not mad about tackle. I'm not. I think they addressed positions that I wanted to see them address. And receiver was high on my I thought receiver was going to be addressed in the first round from what we've been told. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought that tackle, I know everybody talked tackle, but the more I mocked, the more I stopped forcing tackle. Mm-hmm. And I stopped doing, and so a little bit of a quibble with Haynes, but I'll be honest, for me, to get the guy that I like in Green, who I believe is tiers above a lot of the people in that area, and then still get Puny, who I don't think is really, I think him and Haynes probably are ending up relatively more parallel than we think. I think it's a slam dunk. I think they did a great job. I think this is a good draft. I think it's a good draft.
I love it. Yeah, not mad. Day 2 was feel a lot better at day 2 than I felt coming out of day 1. I will say that.
And we said that, right? We said that it's contingent on what they do in day 2.
Of course. Niner Matt says, best part about this, no third round running back. Well, you say that, but breaking news, the Niners have just traded back up. No, I'm just joking. I'm totally joking. And they've selected a running back. No, Frank Gore Jr., everybody. No, the 49ers did great, man. I love this. Love this. Gojira Von Jinx says Burford on notice. Now with Feliciano ahead of him, Burford seems to not be developing mentally or physically. It's a tough league, man. It's a tough league. He's going into year 3. You got to S or get off the pot, right? Like that's the way that it works. So
I will say this one thing.
Canada.
My guy KP just tweeted it out. And I don't think it's only a representation of the Niners, but really this class and how college kind of went this past few years. Mm-hmm. First round pick, though, a 5th-year senior. Second round pick, a 5th-year senior. Third round pick, a 6th-year senior. So some older guys with these 3 picks.
Here's the thing. This is the COVID thing, though, too. You have to remember that. And
exactly,
the Niners are starting to look at these things as saying, I don't know if they're worried about second contracts as much as I think they're looking to say, hey, we're wanting to get players that can play now. Niners fans have been saying, oh, they're going to redshirt these guys. They're not redshirting these guys with experience. I think they believe these guys can come in and go now. And haven't we been wanting them to do that for a while? Haven't we been wanting them to draft people that could actually come in and contribute instead of sitting there on the bench interminably and like being in a doghouse or whatever it is, or earn your stripes? I like this, and I think there's an avenue for all three of these guys to have significant snaps right away. And I think Puny in particular, here's a guy, he's going to come in and put pressure. And Jonathan, I want to say something about Jonathan Feliciano. Jonathan Feliciano is not getting younger. And Jonathan Feliciano did a nice job coming in. But remember, Burford was a starter at the beginning of the season. Feliciano is also, I try to separate the personal from the, like, I know Feliciano was like ragging on guys for wanting to wear these padded helmets, like if they've had concussions, like, you know, and maybe Feliciano's had a couple. I don't know. I'd like to see Puny go right at it. I'd like to see him have an opportunity to win a job. I'm not bowing at the altar of Feliciano. I think that this is great. And the utility that he offers, like Jesse was talking about, like, and you said, Rohan, inside out, Puny can play center too. I think people think like, what's his, I don't know exactly off the top of my head, because I just look at him as a player, but what his height weight combo is. But does anybody have that? I can get it.
You're talking about Puny, right?
Puny, yeah.
Let me check my notes real quick. I definitely have that.
I got it right here. Yeah, it's
6'5", 315. 6'5".
Yeah, so he's not as like, I think there's been this thought about Puny, and you've seen like 6'5",
38-inch arms too. So
yeah,
a little smaller maybe for the tackle, but perfect for guard.
But big hands, 6'5", 313, right? That's not like, it's big, but it's not like Trent, you know, it's not big, right? Like he's not just like this massive blob of a dude. Like he can move. His athleticism wasn't bad. Like his vertical at 30 at his size isn't bad at all. His 8'11", his 3-cone for his size, you know, 5'3", in the 40. I don't give a rip about that.
I thought he also had good, like pretty good feet overall.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not going to kid myself and say I'm the best offensive line evaluator. I'm not. I'm still improving. I thought he had good feet. And the intriguing part, the thing about a guy, playing in that system and a guy of his frame, he's a pass protector. He reminds me in a little bit of that Aaron Banks type of frame, a bigger type of guy who's got good feet and more of a pass protector who you can develop into more of an all-around player.
He's not a guy they're looking. This is going to be an interior guy, though. I think he has the ability to play swing stuff. They want him inside. And that tells you that they don't. Feliciano is a stopgap, and he always was a stopgap. And I think that's where they're looking at to go right guard. And I think, and you know that that Kyle Shanahan, his center and tackle, hasn't been heavy interior high in the draft, but this is a great spot for him.
I agree.
Brother Bob says happy and drinking because we addressed O-line and DB for the future. B+. I'm with you. I'm with you, Brother Bob.
And Brother Bob, I just want to say, brother, I had never seen you personally talk to you. Thank you for the videos that you sent me. Like, I love that you're having a fun time. Cheers to you, brother. I'll send you one later too.
Yeah, I love this versatility. Guys, I'm glad we were able to make it happen. It doesn't look like the 49ers are going to be picking here, but we got a few more picks, so we'll wait it out. But man, if this is how day 2 ends, not mad. I think I'm gonna go live again tomorrow. The picks are gonna be going crazy, but F it, dude. Why not? Why not be live, man? This has been a blast. Might as well run it through all the way through the draft. So I'm good with it. David, I don't know what you're gonna be doing, or Rohan, but I'll probably be live again tomorrow night.
View is good enough for me. I mean, this is
that's fair. No, that's fair. No, listen.
We had 8 hours of Jessie Naylor this week.
Shocked.
Wow.
That's rough, dude.
I mean, I got nothing better to do with my life. So, I mean, I'll probably be here.
I'm just saying.
Wow.
Point well taken, Rohan. Point well taken.
This kid's got, I mean, yeah, it's a Saturday night, Rohan. I mean, what year? Sophomore year?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Go out and.
Wait, did the Packers really pick back-to-back?
I don't think they picked back-to-back, but they were close. They took Marshawn Lloyd, and then they took Hopper, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it was back-to-back, actually.
Yeah.
No. They were at 88, and then they were at 91. So they took At least
Oh,
that's what I have.
I love the Elijah Jones pick for the Cardinals. I'm telling
Who
you
just
right
took him?
now, the Cardinals, they've had a great draft. Elijah Jones is a guy no Marco was high on. He turned me on to him at Boston College. He's tall, but he's a little slight of frame. And it's like, he can't play inside. Who cares? So what? Like, I get it. Maybe he's not the most physical person yet, but he's really, really good in coverage. In man coverage, he's phenomenal. That's a great pick.
They got two corners, man. They needed that bad.
No, it's a phenomenal pick. And then the Cowboys took Lufau, and I had him as a 7th round prospect or UDFA. I don't know, man. That's wild. Linebacker.
Didn't they take a very similar player in terms of a reach like last year? I forget who it was off the top of my head. They took a guy in the 3rd round that everybody had as like a late round, 5th, 6th round guy. And so they did it again. And surprisingly, Cowboys take no running backs, right?
It is a little surprising.
Well, yeah.
But there's going to be a lot of guys late, man. I'm telling you, there's going to be a lot of guys late. I need everybody in the chat. I don't need you to say anything, right? I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, give me a like or anything like that. What I do need you to do for me, though, I need everybody to just, to themselves, quietly give me a Theo Johnson chant for tomorrow. Round 4, Theo Johnson. We're moving this thing up to an A, baby. Just letting you know right now. All right. Theo Johnson. I need everybody to throw that in their minds for tomorrow. We need good thoughts around Theo Johnson being a 49er tomorrow. I'm just throwing that out there. Okay. Take it or leave it. Throwing that out there.
I'm just going to say, guys, there are so many. There's guys that I'm looking at that are available here. Peyton Wilson has the injury concerns. He's old too, but he's an athlete, right? But his injuries are horrible, right? And he's got T-Rex arms as a linebacker, like our friend Borland. Cedric Gray, TJ Tampa, Jaden Hicks, my guy.
Javon Baker.
Did they draft?
Who went? Who got him?
No. He didn't go yet. I'm just saying.
Jalen McMillan. I was just announcing Jalen McMillan as my guy, and Bucs
McMillan just went with 92. Yeah, that's another.
I like.
And
Jalen
that was after
McMillan.
they got Tyke Smith. That's not bad for them. They went Tyke and then Jalen.
I think Jalen McMillan actually is a guy that we know the Niners liked, and I actually like him more than Jalen Polk. And I know. I think Jalen Polk was fine. I don't think he's refined though in anything he does. He's a dog. I said, well, it's fine, but he doesn't really do anything great. And Jalen McMillan is a good route runner, like a very good route runner. And is a little bit. I mean, he's like Dante Pettis. He's much stronger than Pettis. So yeah, this is a good pick. So, guy, let's talk about maybe some guys that we're looking at tomorrow. I know you just said Theo Johnson. I mean, who realistically? I mean, we're talking about 124. Maybe they're going to package up. We're talking right now. They're standing at what pick 93. So a pick away from where the Niners were going to be drafting. So they're about 30 picks away, right? So they're about 30 picks away from taking their next pick. What are we looking at?
Listen, you said Javon Baker. If Javon was there, I know they've already taken a receiver. Call me crazy.
PPA.
But the 49ers do this very often where they hedge their bets. They'll take a player high at a certain position, and then they'll later in the draft take that same position, knowing they don't need both. And sometimes that later guy ends up being better. I know everybody's like on the Pearsall train, but if they got Baker and they hedge their bet, don't be surprised if Baker's the better player. I'm just throwing that out there. That being said, I would take Baker. I would be fine with that. I would be fine with Theo Johnson. I'd be fine with Cedric Gray. Which, by the way, I had argument after argument that Cedric Gray was going to be a 4th round linebacker, and people told me I was freaking nuts and he'd go in round 2. He's there. So Cedric Gray, Mahogany, there's some guys. So there's some players, and some are going to be falling to the 49. There's still some really good corners out there. Like I said, corners round 3, round 4. There's some really good ones out there. So There's a lot of players, man. A lot of players still left on this board that I am totally fine with.
Well, I'm looking at, you said receiver, right? The receiver, Troy Franklin. Troy Franklin, I thought, I mean, I know there were a lot of teams that were worried about his frame. I mean, I was, but I also thought he could slip into the first round. So Troy Franklin, Javon Baker. I'm going to skip over guys that I'm at. Tez Walker, I'm not high on. The guys I like: Malik Washington, Troy, Javon Baker, Jamari Thrash, Luke McCaffrey, Anthony Gould. I know that's your guy, right?
That's my guy. That's my guy. A little early. I don't think I'd be happy if they took him this early, but he is my guy. Yes.
Yeah, and I think it might be a little redundant with what they did with Pearsall, right?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of receivers there. The running, and here's the thing, man. I'll say this about running back though, is that
Tyree Jackson's out there, Cam Hart. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
But running back at this point in the draft, mid to late fourth, you've got CMC, you've got Elijah Mitchell, who's I love him, he's made of glass. You have Jordan Mason, who the Niners do not trust routinely. There is nobody else. Patrick Taylor, who you just signed for the Packers, their sixth string running back. I think in the round 4, if there's guys that are falling, Jalen Wright to me is an absolute stud. Audric Estime, who ran a slow 40, but is exactly the type of Niners running back that is a one-cut, tough guy between the tackles. Isn't going to have long speed, obviously, but you don't necessarily need it. It's great burst. Isaac Guerrero, a guy that Tony Pauline said they had a third-round grade on, but probably didn't. Will Shipley is a Cabo boy. We can get that in there. We got Tyrone Tracy. We're told very strongly that the Niners are very high on Tyrone Tracy as not only as a running back, but offensive weapon, former receiver, turned running back, Rasheen Ali. There's so much out there. And just the skill position. Tight end, you got Theo Johnson, right? Jatavion Sanders, Jared Wiley, AJ Barner, Jaheim Bell, the offensive weapon, Eric All. I mean, this is just like, there's a lot of good players here still. And this is where I said,
I think when you bring up, go ahead.
No, go please.
I think when you bring up all of these players, it just brings me back to one point. The Niners, especially in a class like this, where it may not be as deep, you've gone through your supposed needs, be it for 2024 or beyond. You've gotten a corner. You have a bunch of free agent corners after next year. You got a receiver. The supposed Deebo Samuel replacement. You got an offensive lineman. That was something the 49ers needed to do, hopefully within the first 2 days. At this point, it does not matter to me what position they take. They could double up on receiver. They could double up even on corner. If that is the best player available on the board, I think at this stage, I'm open to every single option, except for kicker. Oh, shoot. Let me.
Dorless is still available, guys, is he not?
Dorless is still available. Yeah.
Dorless is still available.
There are a lot of options, I think, that the 49ers can go with. I think, and you should do this mainly in every round, but genuinely, I think the 49ers could go with best player available without regard for position over these last few picks.
They should. That's how this is how I feel like in the past they've gone their guy or like stop. Here's the thing. I understand getting your guy. I also think that in anything in life, there's things you say, here's my ranking. You want to do your own research. But then last night we talked about, was it really consensus? We heard like, well, maybe not really, right? I think sometimes going to consensus has strengths because we know that we can get clouded by our anecdotal things like, I like this person, I could be wrong. And I want the Niners to just hopefully say, hey, let's not go so gold helmet to the point where we ignore the fact that we might be passing up a guy who's a better player. And even if it's in a position where we think we've got a starter already, please don't do that. Please just be more of an NBA drafter and figure it out later. Like get the best athlete, get the best player, get the guy who can contribute or that you have that has a future with your team. Don't pigeonhole because of position.
People were asking about who Theo Johnson is. 6'6", tight end, Penn State.
Yep.
Very fluid athlete. You can go look at his all of the speed measurables compared to some of the other tight ends that are still left. He's the better of them. He's the bigger of them. He's sure-handed. He's a good route runner. He's actually a decent blocker. He can play inline. He can play separate from the off. I mean, he can do everything. So I love Theo Johnson. I see that LJL says flyer on Jaheim Bell. I know that's coach's guy. I'm fine with Jaheim Bell. I just prefer Theo.
John Lynch just said
Brother
the 49ers did not entertain any discussions of trades involving Brandon Ayuk or Deebo Samuel today.
There you go.
Well,
there you go.
Yeah, but
I mean,
they did
Still,
entertain.
today.
They didn't
Today.
get the offer. They didn't get the offer they wanted. Is what that says.
Yeah.
Is what that means.
I love Chris Ballard, by the way. He went off in his press conference on the anonymous sources.
That was wonderful.
Tearing down
FNBS.
Texas wide receiver. Yep.
What did they
Put your name on it. Put your name on it. We tear these young men down. It's crap. This is a good kid.
Well, hold on. I'll just push back on that a little bit, though. I don't hear anybody tearing him down. They said that they were saying that they'd heard through. We've heard this for years. Like, it's not about every player, though. They don't do this to all players. There are reports that were multiple that came back that said his interviews were a little disengaged. That is not a character slander to me. Like, that's just reporting. And like, nobody said that he was a bad teammate. Nobody said that he was out partying. Nobody said that he was like, but like, he didn't fall to 52.
But didn't people say that it wasn't just that? It was, I thought there was people that saying that he wasn't always like engaged.
Yeah.
As far as a player during game day is what they were saying. How would you know that? I mean, unless people are telling you, obviously, in Texas, but it's just like, dude, I don't know. I mean, it's fine. It's his guy. He drafted him. Of course, he's going to stand up for him. But this is, I will say, the same thing that started to happen to CJ Stroud last year. Now, luckily, the Texans didn't give a shit. And look at how great he is. But anybody that watched CJ Stroud would have known that he's a bona fide superstar at the next level in the making.
Right.
But the way that people talked about CJ Stroud was absolutely awful. So there are players that they pick and do this with from time to time. Now, I'm sure they're not just throwing things that, out there, but things get misconstrued sometimes with players. And it's like, dude, I don't know.
People said that about Justin Fields and they were right, though. It's like, so I don't think anybody said anything egregious, though, about him other than speculating about his medicals. But the other stuff about legit reports saying, hey, haven't we heard about before? Hey, we heard in interviews this guy was really sharp. We hear that. But like, so then I just feel like they should be able to, because they say put your name on it, but he knows good goddamn and well. He knows well that he'll sit there and put things out through agents or other people that doesn't put their name on it and doesn't put his name on it. And like other GMs that leak things. I just think it's kind of like, I get it. I actually admire that he's going for his guy that he drafted. That is admirable. I also don't think that I don't think there was any kind of like bombshell, Laramie Tunsil and a gas mask kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like it was just like, people are also wondering, bro, you've got like top 15 talent and you're at 52. There has to be something to it. Like, that can't just be that all these teams, there has to be something to it. What it is, I don't know.
Brother Bob says gold is too small. Listen, I'm talking about like round 5-ish for gold. And we talked about players that go watch gold and tell me that he plays small, because to be an outside receiver at his size, most of these guys are playing in the slot, and that's where he would be better suited in the NFL. He's got a 40-inch vert. He plays very, very big at the catch point. He's also a punt returner. He'll take end arounds. He follows his blocks well. He goes over the middle. Nothing about gold screams he plays small. So I get his frame is small. That is not the way that he plays. And for a guy with 4.3 speed to have that vertical jump and to be a punt/kick returner and just an all-around weapon on offense, I'll take my flyer in round 5 on a guy like that. I'm not saying in round 3, or round 4, but round 5, I'll take it.
Yep.
This is funny. KB Toy Store says, I will talk to my life-size Kyle plush pillow, Jesse, for you and ask Kyle to draft him. Thank you. Ask him if he'll take Theo for me, would you? That would be awesome. Are we all the way through? No, we're not through yet. Oh, who'd the Ravens take?
We know it's someone good.
Isaac.
Oh,
Adisa Isaac, the other edge of Penn State. Jalen Hunt to the Eagles. You gotta be kidding me, dude. How do they always do this?
They don't even
Man.
have to move. Oh, they traded back too with us. And they
That
got
was the
Jessie.
trade with us. Yeah. Wow.
That's wild. Good for them.
Wow. That's a good pick. And I like the Adisa Isaac pick as well.
Who took him?
The Ravens took him right before Jalix went. Yeah.
Of course. Literally these two damn teams, man.
There's just some teams that just
God damn.
Hey, there we go. Well, if you still talk to her, let her know that we, as 49er fans, would love to have her son as a San Francisco 49er. Some of us, Brother Bob, maybe not you, Brother Bob, drink your wine. Just kidding. Last year's Super Bowl champs, Brother Bob, are about to be on the clock, the Bengals. I picked the Bengals preseason to win the Super Bowl, and he won't let me live it down.
He was in the army. Was he really in the army with Gould's mom?
Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah, I was in the army with Gould's mom. That'd be a weird thing to talk about if you were. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
That's pretty cool.
Let me. Oregon State, Anthony Gould, raised by an Army mother. It checks out, G.I. Jones. It checks out. There you go. There you go. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it says KP. KP talked about Puny, or it's probably Puny.
Puny, yeah.
Yeah.
Puny would be funny, though.
Puny, yeah. So, anyway, ran behind another 47%. That was the percent for Renardo Green. Ran behind Puny 47% of the time, more than any IOL in the whole class. Puny averaged 3.5 yards before contact, which also tops the IOL. So when they were running behind him, he allowed 4 pressures in 2 seasons. That's phenomenal. And Brandon Thorne, who's a big time scout, says that he feels like he'll be starting next year and was one of the best value picks in the entire draft. So yeah, that's it. It's they're doing well. They afforded themselves very well.
Yeah, absolutely. Eric says, just tuned in. Glad to see the front office can actually diagnose areas of need. They're doing good. Doing well.
Yeah.
Trying to keep track here. Jerry and Jones went to the Jags. I love that pick.
Another Florida State slot nickel corner. Yep.
I feel like the Bills reached a little bit here. No, I mean, I get there's not really a reach. Never mind. I just feel like there are better defensive tackles on the board. They went Dwayne Carter out of Duke.
Well, the Bengals really reached to me. McKinley Jackson at A&M, I thought was a big name early in the season, but I don't think he's not a guy I had.
I would much rather have Dorless or either of the LSU guys.
I know that there's a concern. There had been concern from people that had criticized my, I like Dorless, and people said, well, he's kind of a tweener.
Perfect. Versatility.
6'3". Well, yeah, not super tall. 283. Where are you? A big end? I feel like he has a frame where he can put some more. I really look at him a guy like an Armstead type of player. I'm a little surprised. I thought he would go, and maybe he still does these next 3 picks. I'm just going to go ahead. So I still have guys where I had 25 draftable grades. I think I had Puny on there too. I can't remember if I put him on there. I think I probably was looking at tackle I was sitting there at work on a break, and I had written down, and I'm looking at the best available board, and they have Puny as a tackle. And then I wasn't even thinking on my interior line, but they had Dorless and Wingo were 2 guys I had listed. Still available.
Wingo's still on the board? Oh, I forgot.
Yep. Do the Rams, speaking of those guys all being on the board, do the Rams go with one of those guys here? Trying to, fill a need.
Well, they've already
retirement.
gone edge. So I'm trying to figure out who, and the Steelers are on the clock. Pick is in.
Yeah. Yep.
And yeah, Steelers, Rams, Commanders. Okay. And that Commanders pick was the pick that went from the Niners.
Mitchell and Ness says if Leggett turns into the next AJ Brown, if that happens,
Nah.
the pick after, yeah, that would be heartbreaking, man.
I don't think so.
Kendrick, what is wrong with you, man? Shady Luke says Howie Roseman has made 3 trades today.
I'm writing my article and I look and I see that comment. All right.
He's just like naming the grossest alcohol of all time.
Peyton Willis. Peyton Willis is a Steeler. He is.
Wilson's a Steeler.
Wilson is what I meant. Yes.
Wilson. I was like, Hillis? Like Peyton Hillis? Pizza Diaper says, how do you guys feel about Gore drafting 6 or 7? I listen. Somebody asked us earlier about bloodlines and is there nostalgia there? Would we want these guys? Not because of that. If they don't take any other running back and they take Gore in round 6 or 7, dude, totally fine with that. Totally fine with that. I think he plays just like his dad. Obviously, not as as good as his dad, but yeah, of course. Yeah, I'd be fine with that. I really would. Wouldn't be mad at it. Peyton Wilson, TJ Watt. That's a good. I agree.
I mean, Peyton Wilson probably doesn't make it 2 years in the NFL. I don't really. I just think Peyton Wilson, his injury history is
Rohan's face.
You think it's medical?
Article. He goes,
oh, Peyton Wilson is absolutely medicals. Yes.
Okay.
He's old and he's had injury after injury.
I thought you meant because of talent, and I was like, oh.
I was like, that's what I thought too. I was like, whoa.
Why do you think he's still available? His athletic profile for linebackers is exactly what people are looking for with that production. He also has, super T-Rex arms. He is a cowboy boy. But I don't know if he fits a cowboy boy. I think you got to have. I don't know if he has any tattoos. You got to be like Ricky Pearsall is absolutely a cowboy boy. George Kittle is a cowboy boy. CMC absolutely. Kyle Juszczyk for sure. Trent Taylor, thank you for coming back to Cabo. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I would like to say though, tomorrow you want Theo Johnson. I want a couple more Cabo boys. I'd like to see that happen. So any Luke McCaffrey, Braden McGregor,
if we get a McGregor, we need guys with Mick in their name. As many players with Mick in their name as we can stockpile.
Yeah.
Bonus.
Dallin Volker, AJ Barner, Will Shipley. That is okay. If they draft Will Shipley, who I don't even like, I don't know how. The Cabo aura for the Niners is almost obnoxious. Like, I feel like I don't know. I feel like they're going to get like a call from the NFL. It says, bro, what are you guys doing over there?
Cabo boy. So the 49ers have what's called they call it a Cabo click. And it is favorites of Shanahan that go on vacations to Cabo with him in the offseason. Most of these players have lighter pigment in their skin. And are very good players. So there you go.
Except for Trent Taylor. But and Kyle Juszczyk. Well, did I say that? Yes. Yeah, I'm just pushing an agenda. And Ricky Pearsall really started to soften. I had me at my hopes up. Okay. But no, it's a joke, kind of. So yeah, that's a good question though. All jokes aside, I think that this is setting up pretty good. I think Peyton Wilson is a monster, 6'4" backer. Nice duo with Patrick Queen. Okay. Who does he remind me of? I don't know. I think he reminds me of this dude that I saw was managing a Subway when I was stopped over with my Knowledge Bowl team.
Golly, dude. You're such a jerk.
Oh my
Such a
lord. He is going off.
You just went in on him, man. That's crazy.
Peyton Wilson, more like Peyton Fogle.
Oh,
Yeah.
God, dude. Jeez.
Anyway. What?
What QB should the 49ers?
Rattler
Good question.
Rattler's still there.
If Rattler's there
Cameron
at 132,
Kitchens.
do you take him?
No. Can't. No, if Pratt's there, I would take him, though. Cameron Kitchens,
Okay.
safety Miami, went to the Rams.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm like, there's some good defensive tackles you could have had.
Last pick of day 2, Adam Peters on the clock.
Adam Peters. Here we go. Are you talking about the Cabo click? They do look a lot like us.
Yes. Well, yes.
David and I should say.
Yeah,
I agree.
I haven't shaved in quite a while. Now, George Kittle, I guess he doesn't shave either. Nick Bosa, we forgot about Nick Bosa, but Nick Bosa actually isn't. Yeah, he is. We're talking about the dudes that hang out in the locker room with a dip in. Okay.
Yeah.
And they all hang out together, and they go to. Sam Darnold was definitely a Cabo boy, but then he went to the Vikings.
For sure. Yeah.
Colt McKivitz, Nick Sakel, Brock Purdy, I think Brock Purdy. I don't know if Brock Purdy is a Cabo boy. I think he counts though. I think Brock Purdy is a Cabo boy too.
Yeah, he kind of floats in between. He's a tweener. You know what I mean?
Brock Purdy dances on a golf course.
Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
I would say Brock Purdy when he's doing John Deere commercials.
Oh my God,
Cabo boy. Brock Purdy on the field with the swag he has, not so much a Cabo boy. So he's he's fluid. He's got fluidity in his Cabo click nature.
Yes, my favorite clip about Brock Purdy. We were at the NFC Championship game, so we didn't see it, but it was when George Kittle goes up to him and tries to, because George Kittle's always being a WWE persona, and he's always like trying to and Brock's just kind of on the sideline, just kind of pumping himself up silently, like getting in the zone, and George is over there telling some stupid story, and Brock's just looking at him like, bro, I will end you. But kind of like looking at him like you're like looking at like the kid who's like could you just go away? Like, just go away. Yep, cool.
Luke McCaffrey just went to the Washington Commanders.
Cabo boy! I said he might slip into the 3rd round, and there he is. And he's I can't assist.
Ahead of Rice. Eat that. Told you he was better. I don't know if he'll be better. I'm just joking.
You know what I love about Adam Peters? Adam Peters is like, you're not going to get to reunite with your brother. You're going to have
dude. You're coming through here first. That's pretty funny, dude. That's actually really funny. That is such a vindictive type of pick. I love it, actually. Would the Niners take a flyer on Jordan Travis?
No. Not after that.
I don't know. I don't think so. Yeah, that's pretty brutal. Shady Luke says there for sure were people talking shit on Adonai. Yeah. And again, to be fair, we don't know what's true and what's not, but they like him. Adonai, I said his name wrong. They like him, and they picked him, and they should stand up for him.
Yeah.
And we'll see. We'll see how good of a player he is. I think he has a chance to be a really good player.
Yep.
I will say that his production shouldn't be eye-popping with Richardson, who is going into year 2 but hasn't played a lot and is developing himself as a thrower. So, we'll see how that works out for him.
Yeah, and here's the thing. You guys know A.D. Mitchell is a guy I had them trading up for in the 1st round. I love A.D. Mitchell. And I also just think that we can't cherry pick reports and say we only want to share the reports that are positive and glowing. But any report that might be like somewhat like scathing that's off limits. That to me is just gatekeeping. And I'm not saying anybody did that here.
No.
But it's like, wait a minute. So all these prospects are either like, well, we don't know. And I totally do get it, because I hear getting a text and say, hey, I'm hearing good things about this kid. It's like, that's fine. But like, other reporters just saying that meetings were a little bit off or disengaged. I'm sorry, like that's not like telling the kid that he committed a crime or did anything else like that. Like if I'm in an interview committee, I've relayed back to my administrators or superiors where I said, hey, I just did this interview, and the demeanor that was there was just really not becoming of what I would expect of. It's like, and if that gets out, just like anything positive, I don't understand how that's slander. I just think that's just reporting. But
That's
whatever.
True. Jordan Schultz said Luke McCaffrey, who's a converted quarterback, really flashed last season and tied Roma Dunze with 22 contested catches last season. Talk about playing big. He is an athletic player and he plays very, very big.
I'm happy for him.
I think he can be pretty good, you know, and he's an athlete, man. He is an athlete. We will say that. And the bloodlines, you know what I mean?
Well, it's true though. Yeah.
Austin, I agree. He's way better than Rick Persley. Perlacy, even. I agree. For sure. But you know, we'll see. We'll see. Anyways, listen, I like I said, I think I'm going to be live tomorrow. If y'all want to join me for rounds 4 through 7, more than welcome. Everybody in the chat would love to see you there. It's been an awesome couple days. I think the 49ers, I put them at a solid B+. We'll see how the rest of the draft goes. Still a lot of really good players on the board that I like. David likes, Rohan likes. Go check it out. Either way, much love. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace.
Peace.